We live, we live.
Greetings, family. We're back in the house once again. We were trying to do some stuff, but we ran out of time. Some of that recording is historical, but it's gone over the time, so some of it we will never see again. So, Brother Rich, over the days, how have you found it?
Listen, it's been a big build. Most enjoyable time. It's been tiring. Let me put my camera on so people can see me. It's been tiring. It's been, it's just been interesting though. Like I've enjoyed listening to back-to-back information on different parts and aspects of the Black experience. And that last conversation, again, people need to understand how special that panel was, because those elders don't really come together that often. And to just listen and be a fly on the wall and listen to them go back and forth and talk about things, as they said, that aren't new. Yeah, they're not new subjects, but again, to hear their experience and how their perspective is, I think that's what's needed. And again, for all the people that don't realize it, this whole Black History Weekend is in support of the Dr. Llaila Afrika uh, youth exchange program for rites of passage. Yeah, this is what it's about. So when you're seeing all of these great names, teachers, scholars, tour guides, YouTubers, all sorts coming on and dedicating their time, they're dedicating themselves to this concept of one, having a rites of passage for our young people, and two, making sure that there's an institute in place to initiate this constantly. Because again, we're not raising money for a one-time trip. We're raising money so we can continuously take our children, our youngers, our young adults, and put them through a system where they can be edified as they go into adulthood. So that's the process. Riggsy, just throw the link up, please, for me into the chat. So I can.
I'm trying to get into now.
Share that over. I'll put that as well in the chat for this part for people to be able to come onto the panel, voice their opinion of the day, ask any questions possibly. Talk about any of their experiences of what they've seen, what they've watched. We may have a few other people come on maybe a bit later, but for now, this is a part where we're just leaving it open for anyone to come on. We're still encouraging people to donate to the cause, and the main reason why we're here. We're still encouraging you to obviously like the video and get that out. But this is the part where, again, we're posting the link. Anybody can come on, voice your opinion, speak about the Black History Weekender, about rites of passage, about our children and our young people. Whatever you need to say, come on, this would be a good time. If not, we're going to play an advert in a piece and, just keep it moving for a hot minute before we finally close down this big weekender. So yeah, Riggs, if there's anything you want to say, say. Post the link as well, please, for me into the chat. That will be appreciated.
I'm doing that right now as we go. I want people to come and give me their reflections of how the week has been, the 2 days of tremendous scholars passing through, giving their information. Hold on. Yeah. Are people coming into the house?
So don't forget, people, as you come in, hit the like button, If you've enjoyed today's events, you've got any positive comments you want to say, any queries, this is the time. Jump on, speak your speak. I know we're still going to do our Tuesday build for next week, but for now, this is another opportunity where we're opening up the panel to the public for you to come on, say what you got to say, voice your opinions. This isn't about full-blown debate, but this is definitely a part where we're encouraging anybody who wants to say a few words and speak to what they've been watching for the last 2 days. Definitely, we're encouraging.
We've got a doctor from Jamaica who may be coming on board. Hold on. I'm gonna call them now. Just give me 2 seconds. Play a video for them.
Let me just find something for the people then. Let's find something for the people. Come in, people. Hit that like button. We're just trying to work out a few other people to come on. The link to come on right now on this panel is in the chat room. Feel free to jump on, speak your speak, voice your opinion about how you feel about the Black History Weekend, or how you think it's gone. What was your favorite part? Yeah, this is it. The link is there. It was an excellent Black Eyes. Let's highlight some comments here. It's an excellent Black Eyes. Both days very powerful. My favorite was Brother Minister. Micro presentations. These people. Please, thanks. All right. So enjoy Brother Minister. Big up to Brother Minister. Saw him earlier listening to the elders. Big up to you, brother. I have 2 more videos from Brother Minister, so look out for that content that will be going up on the channel. Definitely, that will be coming. Big up to you, Melanin Goddess, being supporting hard for the last 2 days. So appreciate it to you, posting, commenting, chatting, debating, all of it in the chat. Much appreciated to you. Much appreciate. Come on, people. Come in, jump on, speak your speak, voice your opinion. I'm really interested to know what the people were listening to, and what bits of different conversations resonated with you. What was your favorite part of the day? Have you supported? Have you subscribed to Black Eyes TV? That's another big thing. Yeah, if this is your first time coming over here to watch um, some of the events that's gone on for today or tomorrow or yesterday, make sure that you subscribe before you disappear again, so you can get them alerts in. Who's this jumping on? All right, that's all. What's good, Melanie Goddess? How you doing, babes?
Peace, peace, and blessings to the brothers on the panel and everyone in the chat. I just want to drop through. I know you guys are still working on who the next person is coming through. So I just wanted to show some love, show some support. I think these last 2 days have been great. You know, even though I'm not in the UK, I feel like we're all one family, and young black men having opportunity to have a rites of passage. Um, it doesn't take away from the collective, being that those young men are actually in the UK and not in the United States. Like, I still support your initiatives that you guys have there. Because like I said, for me, it's all one family. It's not all of this separation that seems to kind of trickle in.
Mm,
So my on the good side, I do. I mean, let me start with the bad side. I do see that that aspect is, it seems like it's very easy to trickle in, where there is a separation, where we had this whole identity politics that trickles in into our community. I think even a couple of speakers, even when they were talking about black, they even said black or African, or more like just trying to be more inclusive in their terminology. Because if you say black, some people say, oh, I'm not black, but I'm African. Some people who are African say, I'm not African, but I'm black. You know what I mean? And
mm,
just really trying to encompass as much of the family, and like, I got family that live in Washington State, I got family that live in North Carolina, family that live in Florida and New York, and I also got family that lives in damn Panama. You know what I mean? And and I might have family that live in other countries like Costa Rica or Colombia or something like that. So um but on the good side, I would say I learned so much stuff about the diaspora, and it just made me feel even more so part of a larger family. And when I learned about um, the brave men and women of the Haitian Revolution, that didn't make me feel any less connected to them, even though I don't speak French, I don't speak Creole, and I'm not from Haiti. And to hear about all of the bad man and bad women of Jamaica, and like all of the stuff, I was just like bigging them up so much. Like, the Jamaican family was like representing, like people were just really saying all of the awesome things um that the ancestors in Jamaica, of them fighting back and them not just laying down, which is sometimes that's a negative characteristics, that it seems like we just acquiesced to being enslaved, and we were just weak, and we were just overtaken, and that we didn't rebel. And I just think that over the last 2 days, it was very, very empowering to hear um the history, the raw history, to hear of the wives of these strong black men even being uplifted. I mean, it was just so many um aspects to me that I just wanted to jump on and show the brothers that organized this event. Brother Richie and Brother Terry. The family definitely appreciated it, and I hope that people continue to donate so that young men will be have the opportunity to attend the rites of passage program that you guys have in the Congo, because we know that our youth need it, and our youth need to have that knowledge of self, and our youth need those examples of strong black men, and to have a brotherhood, and to be able to transition into a brotherhood. To me, it's priceless. So donate, $5, $10, whatever you got, $20, $100, whatever the amount is, every little bit counts. So yeah, that's all I had to say.
No doubt, sister.
Greetings.
No.
Greetings, family. Greetings, family. Greetings, Melanated Goddess. Thank you for that contribution. And we appreciate you every time.
No problem. I'm going to go back in the chat. Peace to Dr. Yakub Oliver. Blessings to you. I'm going to go back in the chat and I'll look forward to your contribution.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sister.
you. Yes, our big brother, the one and only Dr. Jacob Oliver. He's got news for us. He's bringing the sunshine of Jamaica. How are you doing, my brother? You're on mute.
Wait. You're muted, brother. You're muted. We can't hear you. Wait. Still can't hear him. Uh-oh.
Oh, don't let this start again.
That at the beginning, we're still not hearing you. It might be your mic. Is it picking up? No, we can't hear you. You can hear us. Yeah.
I have to go out and come back in.
Yeah. He just dropped out. He'll be back in shortly. Give us a second, people. As we said, the link is in the chat. Anybody else who wants to jump on, just like Melanated Goddess did, voice your opinion, talk about your favorite part of the day, please feel free. Take the link. There it is. I'm posting it right now. Feel free to jump on. Yeah, if you haven't hit the like button, hit it now so we can get this video thumbed up. Hopefully our brother will come back in. It's been a long but good day. Sorry, I'm just typing at the same time as talking to you. Brother Minister be joining. Do you know what? If Brother Minister is around, I am, my door's always open to him. He knows this. He's always welcome to come on. I did want him to come on from yesterday to do a little bit of a Q&A, and time didn't allow it. So yeah, if Brother Minister is around, in fact, let me even text him, seeing as the people are calling for him. But yeah, as I said, this part, anybody can come on, voice your opinion about anything or any part of the day that you've seen. Feel free. I'm just texting him right now to see if he is around. All right, I've just texted him, let him know. Thank you, my sister, for asking. Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy my brother Paul Abenga earlier. That was a good build. And the fact that Tony Warner stuck around, much love to him as well for that. Because again, these people are very busy. They're doing big works in the community. So to have them all come and lend their support has been really powerful today in edifying. Yeah, that's right. I did like Black Poppy Rose as well. Sister was light, But then she was sitting in Jamaican sun, so you know that was her excuse. All right, let's see if we can get this doctor sorted. He's trying to come on. Let's see if we can get him in. Every guest today was uplifting. Give thanks, Black Eyes. Appreciated, my brother. Appreciate. I hope everybody who is coming in, if you didn't hit like on this video, hit it now. And if you didn't hit like on the last link, when it comes up, please go back. If you go back to rewatch it or take something in, make sure you hit like, then share it out. And don't forget why we're here. We're here for the International Youth Exchange Program under the name of Dr. Llaila Afrika, promoting and dealing with rites of passage for our young people as they go into manhood and womanhood. So yeah, that's what we're here for. So again, if you haven't donated, kicked in £1, £2, £3, £4, whatever, please do so. That will be appreciated, because again, that is what we're here for. That's the whole point of this whole weekend. So yeah, we're pushing the envelope. Where's Konsu at? Manhood Academy had a whole load of problems. I was speaking to brother Konsu earlier. If you're around, this would be a good time to come on now and fill in the gap with what you was meant to say on that Manhood Academy piece. Brother Konsu, come in if you're around. I did enjoy the conversation with the NOI brothers. That was very nice. Definitely flowed neatly. Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely. And again, it's very nice to have the support of a big organization as that, who recognize what we're trying to do in the community. I don't know whether we're going to be able to get this elder on from Jamaica. He keeps dropping out. Terry, I'm assuming you're dealing with that, but his mic is not even allowing me to connect, so he must have a problem with his mic. Hold up. All right, okay. How you doing, brother? Let me see. Say something. No, you're still silent. We still can't hear you. Maybe if you maybe try headphones. I'm not sure. If you have a pair of headphones, maybe try that. That's the only other thing I can suggest. Possibly might make a difference. What's good, Lady Divine? What's good? Lady Divine, where you at? You should be jumping on here to say a few words. Yeah, you're regular on the YouTube scene. The link is in the chat for anyone who wants to come on. But come support, speak. What was your favorite parts of the day? You know what I'm saying? What do you have to add to the Black History Weekend? If you've got any sentiments, if you believe there's a certain part of history that we should be focusing on more, come on, let us know. If not, donate to the cause. Don't forget why we're all here and why we're gathered. Dr. Llaila Afrika Youth Exchange Program for rites of passage. So please don't be here if you're not in support of that cause. I'm hoping this brother can sort himself out, possibly.
May have to use a computer. Yes. People hop on, see if you want to come on, tell us your reviews for the past 2 days.
Hello, who's this just coming on? Unmute your mic, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Kaleo. It is I, Larry.
Oh, this is my brother. This is my brother from another mother. How did you find it?
I found it very, very interesting. I remember I was watching the part with Robin Walker.
Yeah.
And I remember him when he was talking about penicillin. And he first showed us the original history, well, the mainstream history, which states that Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin. And then he went on to discuss how bones in Nubia, they looked at the bones and they found certain, I've forgotten the name, terrace, I can't even pronounce it. Yeah. But basically, he was stating that the drink that the Nubians were drinking had antibiotics in there. So as far back as more than 1,000 years ago in this part of Africa, the Nubians were using antibiotics in the drink that they were drinking. This was obviously 1,000 years before Mr. Fleming started doing what he did with penicillin, which I thought was fascinating. I never knew about that. I thought that history was amazing.
The funniest thing is, you see, like when Melly was talking about the him being a certain way, and then when they're looking at science and not knowing that how our traditions is full of science.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because they've been looking from a particular narrative, so they weren't aware that.
So you won't be aware of it, and this is what I've always tried to tell about some of our elders. They have been practicing it, but they have their own name, their own concept for what it is, and it's the same thing when you look at the chicken pox and all that kind of stuff, and what was it, smallpox, and they would scrape the skin of someone that's got smallpox and put it under their skin so that they can't get it.
Really? Okay, I wasn't aware of that. But I was really amazed by what he was saying. I mean, there was a lady who came on whose name I've forgotten, and she actually said that the first millionaire wasn't Madam C.J. Walker. It was actually Madam C.J. Walker's boss, Annie Mae or something. And I laughed, and I thought, well, yeah, that would make sense, actually. That would make sense.
That's what I always say, second in command. Wait, Shakara, jump on! Shakara, jump on! Yeah. So, when you look at certain things, what I've realized, and when you look at people that have ruled, always look at the person who's in second in command or who's the errant runner, because the errant runner is the one that knows everything more than the person that's on top.
Yeah, that is true. It's funny that it sounds so obvious when you say it, but it's interesting how people can easily forget that and then just move on. It kind of ties in with the other bit of history that you mentioned, which I must admit, the first time I heard this piece of history was actually from Isa, Shia Isa.
Yeah.
And it was in regards to Al-Jahiz, in regards to looking at evolution and creatures all around us on this planet, and he was the Muslim scientist from East Africa, and they were talking about his works and what he'd been doing long before Charles Darwin came about, which I found fascinating.
You know what? The thing about the whole thing is that when we actually look at inventors and we look at people that do certain things, of course, they're not. As a black person, they're never going to announce it.
Is that 100% down to prejudice, or?
And this is where, as I said to you, if they were so racist back then, even when they discovered places in South Africa and said no, the African people could have built it, it must have been aliens. So what kind of stories would they write?
Yeah, that is true. That is pathetic, the whole alien thing, to just distance any form of architectural or mathematical skill from non-white people. You say, oh, it was aliens that did it.
Yeah, because if I brought a black scientist and I brought a white scientist, they'll tell me that the black scientist is a load of crap.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I was blown away by what he did, what he was talking about. I've seen him before on other panels, but that whole thing with the antibiotics and what the Nubians were doing and the skeletons that had been discovered and the things found in the skeletons to confirm, that was amazing. But the other thing I found interesting was when he was showing the video about was it people thinking that the original people from the primates would have been white but were in fact black. I thought that was normal. I thought everybody knew that they would have been black skinned, dark skinned. They wouldn't have been looking like Brad Pitt. So
but that's the illusion that they try to promote to us. And this is why I was saying sometimes we've got to look and put our eyesight in a form of an advertising eyesight, because what their system is very rapid on is the repetition. Like, I don't know if you saw when Andrew Mohammed came on and he was showing the films yesterday, and he will show you how they will change even the shade of the color of the skin. Like even when you're talking about the Moses part, where Moses was a little black kid being a rebel, to when he becomes the righteous man as a white man.
Wow, I missed that. Oh, and the final thing that he mentioned, which I thought was great, was when he talked about the coins which had been discovered in the northern coast of Australia, and the coins were traced back to the kingdom of Kilwa in Tanzania, and which then gave the discussion that you would have had Africans, that there was a strong possibility that Africans traveled all the way down to Australia, a good 600 years, he said, before Captain Cook. And I thought that was fascinating. So I did a lot of research and I kept finding more and more stuff on those coins that were discovered in Northern Australia. And I'm like, damn, that is shocking, those African coins from Kilwa. How did they get there?
But that's what I was saying to you. And then you're going to tell us that we didn't have no books, we didn't have no records, but yet we've had records from time, but it's just that some of them, they're not going to, it's not for public consumption.
Yeah, that is it. Well, I was grateful to. I just wanted to thank you and Richie. It was a brilliant historical show. The information today was amazing. It was really eye-opening. So I look forward to any more stuff you do in the future. So that was it. Take care, Terry and Richie, and look forward to your next show.
Yeah, we'll see. I was going to talk to you about the C1 incident.
That one you
that story.
Okay. All right. I guess another time we can talk. Or do you want to do it now? But I'm thinking it's more history tonight. Yeah.
But the C1, think of it like C1 and Soul Solid, the connection.
Yeah, I noticed that because C1 was with Lisa Mafia for a while, wasn't he? So, yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Anyway, I'll leave now. It was a great show. I look forward to it.
Hey, how you doing?
Bye.
Yes, Dr. Oliver.
Yes, how are you?
Greetings, you're live and correct once again.
So you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. I'm still at the rehab center, so
Okay.
I'm actually if you could see, I'm in the process of working, and you can see I'm with my patient, but he had a urgent situation. I don't know if you know the great Bonnie Whaler.
Bonnie Whaler, yeah.
Yes, I'm here with him right now. I'm doing a treatment, a neurological treatment where he can. He had a stroke the other day, so we're basically getting back his. He's getting back. But my job is to get some movements through his neurological messaging.
Okay.
So I'm just here working on that. So we're gonna take him to the hospital because they're giving him some stuff that I'm not approving and to eat, and so basically he's been throwing up since morning, and I'm just trying to sedate him so that he could. But it seemed like he got an infection from the some of the stuff got into his lungs. So we don't want anything similar to what You know, if he was in America right now, they'll say he got COVID.
You know, the great Bonnie Whaler.
Yes, so we don't want him to, we don't want anybody to say, oh, because he has a lung problem, he has fluid in his lungs, which is what the major symptom for COVID is. But the sad thing about the whole thing is, especially with our black brothers and sisters, is that anything you go into the hospital with in America or any of these places, they're going to label it COVID, because anything dealing with mucus and lungs building up with fluid, they're going to label it COVID, which is so sad, because last year this time they wouldn't be calling it COVID. It would just be what it is, lungs, fluid in the lungs, But you can tell I'm just not, I don't believe the whole pandemic that they have set up, So how are you guys?
We're good. We've been doing working all day. We've got Shakara in the house, and he's another brother, Jamaican, African.
Awesome. I see you got the great Marcus Garvey. We're celebrating his 133rd birthday today here in Jamaica.
Yes.
You know what? I'm sure my cousin spoke to me about you, brother Jacob, the other day.
Oh yeah.
About a cousin called Adisa who's doing some work in CBD, and
right.
They're planning some health kind of movements in Jamaica.
Right, we are doing that. I'm working with a couple of companies that wants to do some health wellness retreats.
Yeah,
using psychoblin, I guess what they call the mushroom kind of high. Well, I guess, and then we'll combine it with some CBD, psychedelics and stuff like that. But it should be fun. I mean, if people can afford it, we'll have different packages. Some do.
Well, I might meet you soon. I'm a SEMA Kemet yoga instructor, so you need me to come down and do some sessions, as a part of the retreat.
Oh yeah, definitely, and we use different types. Different. You're marketing an extractor right now.
Pardon me?
You're marketing an extractor, you said?
No. I said I'm a SEMA Kemet yoga instructor.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted me to come down and do some sessions, as a part of the retreat. So yeah, I might meet you soon,
Oh, definitely. That's one of the things that I always said, in any retreat, wellness retreat, we need to have a good yoga instructor.
Yes, sir.
Because that is where the part of the healing is the meditation, and part of the healing is also the stretching and the circulation, which yoga is very good for.
That's right. By the
so
way,
yes, we're looking forward to that.
Yes, sir. I was going to send some love to Baba
yes.
Money. That's the card. That's the
we're moving him out right now.
Like we really fund them something there. So yeah, man, big up to the General Bonnie Whaler.
Right. He's 70 something, and he's hanging there. He's hanging tough, man. To see him as the original energy god. It wasn't Elephant Man. It was Bonnie Whaler. This man get on the stage and he's alive and moving for a couple of hours. Sometimes it shows.
Yes,
so to see him in this state, it's really sad, but. We're gonna bring him back. His wife is missing, so is adding to the stress. She's been missing for a couple of months now, or 3 months. And we're trying to find her.
Wow, I did not know that.
So I think that's one of the reasons why he ended up with the stroke.
Yes, we'll give thanks.
But we are, as I said, we're capable here in Jamaica to extend, in life extension. That's my specialty. Working with cell regeneration, cell rejuvenation, trying to get that whole thing, really popular here in Jamaica, because what they have done to our people, oh my God, it's like they have brought us in a full circle to destroy us through health. They're using that technology to depopulate. I say technology because they're making stuff in the lab for us to eat and for us to use to kill ourselves. And it's really a sad situation. So I am pushing the whole, going back to when the days when the Egyptians were using the sun for healing, the energy from the sun, and you know, you don't have to have anything invasive going into the body, like drugs and stuff like that. One of the big problems we have in the United States is that people, the third leading cause of death in the U.S., and I would think around the world, since you know medical doctors and pharmaceutical is so big, is mistakes done by medical doctor with pharmaceutical products. You know, and they, you know, and then it's even higher among Black people because we are not, our body is not set up for those kind of chemicals that they're putting in us through our food. They start with the processing of the food, the what do they call it, GMO that they're doing is now gone beyond GMO. It's gone to artificial intelligence where they can actually program certain chemical that will only affect our DNA into the foods, into the processed food, and they distribute them in certain areas. They know that they will do it in a certain part of Baltimore. They'll do it in a certain part of New York, Harlem, and those places because they know the DNA that they're going after. You know, so you see a rise in cancer and all these other things among our people. So we need to get the word out that I always say to my patients, if God don't make it, don't eat it. And it's true. You know, you could use that as a guideline to stay off the processed food. The other thing is live food, live cells, dead food, dead cells. As a specialist in cell regeneration therapy, you cannot have cell regeneration if you keep constantly eating dead food. You know what I mean? Overcook, overprocess, and all that stuff. GMO. You know, you have to eat live food, and sometimes that's very important. You know. So I don't know if we're talking about the wellness part of the things yet. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm going on about wellness. Are we there yet? Are we discussing that?
We could talk anything we want to talk today, you know.
Okay,
And
great.
you're bringing the wellness part. That's the part. You're the doctor. Come at the right time. Kickstart that.
Well, I saw it there. History and wellness seminar.
Yeah.
That's it. We've touched on it. We've touched on it a bit earlier with our mother Queen Fua, but
Right.
from a holistic side. But you're bringing the direct medical connotation. So we thank you for that. Continue kicking the science on that.
No problem. No problem. I mean, as I was saying, the energy is very important. Our body is made up. It's chemistry and physics, and but what the pharmaceuticals and the medical association have done is just basically focus more on the chemistry. So we need to focus on the physical side, the physics side, which includes energy medicine, bioenergetics, using ultrasound and a variety of impetus like cold laser. Some cold laser represents certain rays that the sun would offer. I don't know if you remember, in one of our studies back in the days in Africa, when the folks get older and they get a little more weaker, they would just put them in a chair and kind of wheel them out and let them sit in the sun. And that would take place for about 2 weeks. And then in about two weeks or so, a little bit after, you see the same person just walking back in with the chair, So, we know that what happened there is that the rays from the sun have repaired the cognitive tissues in the body. It has regenerate cells that were like dying, that were weak. And so we're using the same technology. It's just happened that the Russians are the ones who are just taking it to the next level. When I say next level, it's actually using the cosmonaut program for the last 60 years, where they use a infrared MIL, magnetic infrared laser, and basically it's their personal doctors. When they're out in space, they don't just return for every sickness. They treat themselves with these devices, and that's what I've been studying since they made it public since 2009. That we that kind of technology is there now, where you can literally go to the area of disease in the body, which includes from cancer to renal failure, diabetes, and you could actually repair the tissues that are failing to cause these diseases to be taken over the body. So once you repair the tissues in the pancreas and the tissues in the liver, you can actually stimulate a type of insulin for people who are really bad diabetics to get off the insulin. But a lot of the medical professionals, they don't want us to talk about these things because their biggest thing is diabetes and collecting lots of money from chemical drugs that they claim will help. But all these drugs does is actually ruin your body, and one of the major ones, the metformin, makes your heart even swell. So it's not the diabetes that's going to kill you; it's the side effects from the drugs that actually kills you. Because a lot of diabetic patients die from heart failure, which is sad because it's from the drugs that they've been given that swells up their heart. So we have to, really, as a people, start studying these things, so that we can basically, help our people take their health back into their hands, take their wellness back into their hands. And there's devices now that these Russians, through my contact with them, that they're making, and that we can get to our people so they can have these at home. There's instructions how to use it, how to, heal themselves. And basically, none of these drugs that they tell us is doing the healing is actually doing anything. I mean, what is doing the healing is actually your body. So you want to find the right remedies to put in the body that will actually repair tissues, repair cells, and repair the cognitive things that are going on with your nervous system, your endocrine system. All of that has to be balanced for your body to heal itself. So that's what the focus needs to be as we go along as a people, rather than just giving into these pharmaceutical companies and taking their products at whims and not realizing how much damage it's doing to us as a people. So we're ready to I'm ready to come up. I mean, we've made some good progress here in Jamaica with Jamaica, believe it or not, and you guys probably won't even realize that, but it's a third or the second actually to India and I think China for holistic healing. People have been holistically and healing themselves in Jamaica for decades. For literally, the slaves used to know how to heal each other after a good beating or whatever they go through, the stress. They knew what herbs and what mechanism from Africa how to heal each other, and they would survive that way. So we just have to bring that back to our people and let them understand that they have to take their wellness into their hands. They cannot leave it to any medical association or pharmaceutical association. Think about this. They're the biggest mafias in the world, especially the pharmaceutical companies. They control governments. They literally control the medical associations around the world. So, the chief medical officer of these small countries, like even Jamaica, have to succumb to these people, and basically whatever they say to give the people, give the people. And it goes the same way with GMO food, like Monsanto, what they used to do. Our prime minister, I found out, the past one, not this one, was an agent for Monsanto. So we had the most pesticide and stuff brought into our country, and during that time we had a high case of cancer and other nerve issues that were going on. So I'm going on. I'm touching a lot of things because I don't know how much time I have. But I mean, these are the things that we need to start, promulgating so that our people can understand what is going on, or why we're having these untimely deaths, and why even this virus is affecting us so much comparing to other races, because they have put us in a position to use things that are just deteriorating our immune system, making our what you call your endocrine system, your neurological system all depleted. And so by the time you get to a hospital to get help, they can't help you because they're going to give you the same things that got you there in the first place, which is bio, what do you call it, GMO, GMO foods and GMO products, stuff that's made in the lab, artificial stuff that's supposed to be coming into a body that is physics and chemistry by God's hands. God made us that way. We're an energy source. So we need to stop relying on these drugs that, are not going to do anything for our energy more than just deplete us. So yes, we have a mission,
Okay. Well, we're going to have this discussion in the next few days.
Definitely.
And we discuss it even more in depth, how we're going to apply this and to transfer it across the board.
Definitely. And we need to organize with this great organization of this Weekender 2020. We need to extend it to retreats, retreats in the Caribbean, Jamaica first, because we have a lot of places for these retreats that people can come and take their health back in their hands. We could call them "Take Your Health Back 2020" or 2021 or what but we need to make our people realize that they need to come to these 2-week retreats, and when they go back home, they don't have to rely on these medical established farce, which is all there for merchandising and money making. You know what I mean?
100%.
So that's something we could extend from this kind of Weekender. We have people meet. So as soon as I'm just looking forward to see what's going to happen in the election in the US, because I'm quite sure it depends on who win. I think that COVID thing will go down drastically. Depends on who lose, it might get higher. So it's there's a lot going on with it. It could be. I think a lot of it is very political, especially in the United States. Of course, I know there's a virus, and I know it was made in the lab in Wuhan and all that stuff, and it was made as a biological weapon against the people of Hong Kong at first. But yeah, it did get out of hand, and it's all over the world right now. But people don't understand. It was made to control the people. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
and at the other level is to now they want us to be so fearful that we are going to beg for their one chip vaccine, which is another way they're going to control you. And if they think you're not aligned with what they want, they can actually get rid of you through this chip. So I'm, as a medical doctor, basically they probably say I'm quackery, professing this, but it's true. Okay, so we just got Bunny out of here. He's just wheeled out to the hospital, which is sad. That was his manager, Maxine Stowe. She does a lot of our what you call vintage artists. She works with a lot of them, but Bunny is her prize. Like she's very close to him as far as getting him back well and healthy. So they just brought him. So they're leaving. They're leaving the he's now leaving the center and going to Andrew's Hospital.
Bless him.
But yeah, he's been my patient for the last year. I mean, you were funny. I love, when I was in college, I loved music. That was my second love, apart from health and wellness. And what happened was, I always admired the Jamaican artists and everyone else. And when I got here to do my practice, I ended up working with people like Bunny Wailer. I did Rita Marley, Sly from Sly and Robbie. We just recently lost what's his name? Because of the lockdown, I didn't get back here in time to treat him. I was locked out of the country for about 4 months. But I'm just saying it's funny because just to see me working with them when I was looking up at them as children, as a child, I was like, these guys, I admire their music so much, and to be working with them now in their golden years, it's amazing,
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely amazing.
I know. So what I was saying about Jamaica being the third country, it's the third country that use a lot of naturopathic nutraceuticals for healing. And what they have done, the big pharma and all the medical association, they have just like try to push that out of play, in our country, and bring in more of their drugs and other things. So I don't want to say too much because you get targeted, and that's not good. I mean, we have lost quite a few good holistic practitioners, medical doctors who have seen that they need to switch and treat people holistically, where it's mind, body, and soul balance for them to heal their body and to live healthy and to be, wellness. The best wellness that they can have is through a holistic approach. But the medical association and the pharmaceutical don't want to hear that, because you're gonna tamper with their money machine. So I remember when I first got to Jamaica and started practicing about 8 years ago. They called the office I was at, and they were like, make sure he's not talking about healing diabetes and hypertension and those things, because so I'm like, why would they call and said I should not be professing that if we can do it through a holistic way of healing? Because it's their moneymaker. Diabetes and hypertension among Black countries are the biggest moneymaker. It's the easiest way for a medical doctor to make his money. Tell you that you have hypertension, you get more scared, and your pressure go up, and then they try to put you on these drugs that they claim will bring it down, but eventually it's going to kill you. You know what I mean? All and there's one of the best ways to deal with hypertension is to drink a lot of water and walk every morning 30 minutes. At least 30 minutes minimum. And then you see you flush out a lot of mucus, which actually stagnate the heart in the first place, and you'll also now get your circulation going from that walk each day, because it's slowing down of your circulation. Why the heart become harder to pump the blood and the oxygen throughout your body. But they don't want to tell you these things. They want to make it seem, oh, you have hypertension, and then you get so scared you don't even think about that it's something simple that you can do to remedy it. So these are the things that we need to let our people know, because those are the two big killers among Black people. Because you'd be surprised, diabetes cause us to have cancer. Diabetes cause also strokes, because when the sugar stagnate in the blood and break off plaques, it goes to areas in our brain, block off oxygen, and that's how these strokes happen. So people have to understand that they need to get their health back in their hands by simple understanding what these disease that they label us with, what really they are, and how simple they are to be remedied through herbs, through exercise, through supplements, through just eating nutritionally healthy, eating nutraceuticals, dealing with nutraceuticals, which is what we want to manufacture out of here in Jamaica, and just get that around the world, because we have a lot of plants, a lot of herbs and stuff that we can use through phytonutrients research to make our own medicine and to keep us long livers. You know what I mean? Because Black people are originally long livers. That's what they were. They were the people that would. But nowadays, we are the ones struggling behind, because we're in a system and a society where they're giving us food genetically engineered to take us out early. You know what I mean? So that has to change. So is everybody? Are we still on? Or
yeah, we're still on. We're just going to talk about Marcus Garvey, who probably and
okay. Well, I have a good story. Dr. Julius Garvey, who's also 87 today. That's Marcus Garvey, younger son.
Okay.
He's also a business associate of mine. He is the CEO of Nascential. Nascential is based in England. I don't know if you know, there's a young man named Dexter, and then there's Adisa. Dexter, I think, has ties in Uganda. Adisa, Jamaican, and they have contacted me a while back about building this hospital in Uganda, and they got Dr. Julius Marcus Garvey involved as the CEO of the project, and he's also, these guys are Pan-Africanists, so that's one of the things, and they're planning to build a few hospitals throughout Central Africa, including Uganda, I think, the country close by, I think Kenya and all those countries in East Africa and Central Africa are going to be on the plan, and it will be a Pan-Africanist movement, project. So yes, that Dr. Garvey is alive and well. What they put that man through, they didn't realize that we'll still be talking about him today and forever. But his son is doing a good job. His son is his specialty is very dealing with veins, of what they call that. He's a surgeon, a varicose surgeon or something. Yeah, but he's retired, but he's still active in seeing this the wellness work extend around the world. We also have Dr. Hall, who's a neurosurgeon in Miami and also practices in Jamaica. So all a part of this. I think where the Pan-African movement is for me is to see our people healthy and strong for the fight for the next century, because we are going to get back to where we were, when we were royalties and when we were rich and when we were making, our own economic decisions. And, we just need to stay healthy to see this through, So I think Marcus Garvey would have been proud to see our people getting aware and waking up from a long, long nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%. Brother Minister, Chakra.
Yes, sir.
Yes, as we're coming close to Marcus Garvey's birthday.
I know, my brother. We're getting close now. 45 minutes left.
We were just talking about his son. His son is 80-something.
His son is 87 today. Julius Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marcus Garvey Jr. is in Florida. He's been struggling with some health issues.
So he's a day before his own dad.
Huh?
I said he's a day before his own dad.
Yes, isn't that amazing? Yeah, I'm born today. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. But he stayed low key. He practiced in Stony Brook, New York for many years. He went to McGill University, and but now he sees fit to carry on his father's legacy. In some ways.
Mm-hmm. As our brother minister, he gave us a good presentation on Marcus Garvey.
Great.
So brother minister, he's going to give us some more info.
Yeah, no problem. What you want me to say, my brother?
Just to give us some more insight on the thing he was about and doing as he was talking on your presentation, because we missed you questions and answers. So let's give more insight.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I wanted to say that Marcus Garvey was the only person that came and tried to unite all black people all over the world at one time, and I think that for that alone, we have to acknowledge the work and the legacy of the man. That's not to take away anything from any of our warriors and warrior queens that's fighting for liberation for our people. but Marcus Garvey had the biggest organization of African people across the globe. And since then, we haven't been able to do the same thing that Papa Garvey did. You know, and as it's his birthday coming to well, in a few minutes, you know, we must venerate Marcus Garvey, you know, by continuing the works, you know, organizing ourselves. Because the greatest thing that we need to be thinking about now is how are we going to organize ourselves, those that are concerned with race first principles and those things. You know, we got to come together and kind of work out, you know, what we're going to do. Because I've said this before, and I'll say this again: if we're not careful, you know, we're going to lose and have to slow down the movement for another 100 years, because we'll be going backwards because we're not learning from history.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that's why if you think about it, this is like a birthday gift to Marcus, because you know what? Because we did the global trip and back, and every time Marcus's name came up,
I'm telling you, and there would never be a struggle that involves our people where Marcus Garvey's name won't be involved. You know, if it's for true liberation. And even when you look at Black Eyes TV, you know, you've got brothers from all over the world and sisters from all over the world coming together to talk about, you know, the healing process and the liberation of our people. You know, that itself is Garveyism. That is a manifestation in 2020. Or when people ask me, what would Garveyism look like today? You know, this is a good example. Black people coming together, sharing experiences and trying to figure out the solutions that we have for our people. You know, you have the elders on as well. So it's not only just young people, you've got the elders as well. So it's intergenerational. And Garvey's movement was intergenerational as well. You know, you had young people, you know, you had the female, the sisters elements, you had the brothers elements, and you had everybody coming together. You know, we just got to kind of, you know, not reinvent the wheel. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. And I heard the elders talking about it as well. We've got it all. We've got all the tools that we need, as the elders were saying before. But what we got to, you know, be, you know, firm with is, what is it we're trying to do? You understand?
And that's what I was saying, the organization, the structure, you know, the planning, you know, the think tank.
Because that's the you know, you have to go to the drawing board and say, okay, this is what we want. This is where we are, and this is what we want, and then we can figure out how we're gonna get there. But right now, we don't. You know, I don't want to be. I don't know what's the word, patronizing. But I don't think that we as a people collectively, we've cemented what it is that we want. So that a lot of the time when you see us get together, that's why we're kind of at odds with each other, because we're not sure. One person saying this one person saying that, and they're both right. But you know, we haven't, you know, come together and say, you know what, we're gonna work together and move forward with this. You understand? And I say Garveyism is the way forward. You know, and that's, you know, I don't think that we can go around that.
Yeah. Is Chakra there?
Yes, I bigging up the minister. You don't know. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
my brother.
Mark, do it say, you know,
Every time.
You know, big no friend.
No time.
Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah, big up Black Eyes TV. I've been in and out of the 2 days still. Cause enough things are going on in it.
Yeah, I know.
Today I was at an Oshun ceremony.
Okay.
Down there in South London, deep south as well. So I missed most of it today, but I caught Pisa, Robin Walker, and Pisa Tony Warner. So that's a good start to the day.
You know what's cracking me up about that is everything that everyone's been talking about for the whole week. It started to come up.
That's what I'm saying, family. Yeah, that was funny. I can't lie, it was funny. It's gonna be an interesting week on the G Block. Benny was listening still, so I'm sure.
Even Benny,
you're gonna get some cameos on the G Block.
I think Benny's not an atheist no more. You know why? But yeah.
Aside from that though, on this Marcus Garvey thing here, the realist talk is in the fact of the works, yeah. Like actions speak louder than words, and you know, I'm always one of them people that when I look at what this organization achieved, yeah, you know, in the 1920s, yeah, I just feel like we shouldn't really have mouth to talk certain ways. You see it, because we're very critical of our ancestors. We're very critical of the legacy that they left us, yeah, sometimes. But when we really study and look at what they actually achieved, we realize that where it's rich talk, yeah, to be so critical when we were given so much, yeah, and like we ain't really, or we are not really doing the best that we should be doing with what they left us, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You know, when Marcus Garvey was building up the ACL, he never had a Marcus Garvey to study. You know what I'm saying, in terms of learning from the mistakes and them kind of things. Never have, you know, the same example to study in terms of, you get me, like how the enemy will come after him, you know what I'm saying, in terms of trying to crush what he was building. And we have all of that today. And so we want to just give thanks for the sacrifice, not just of Marcus Garvey as the individual, but all the men and women in their millions, yeah, millions, who worked and built this powerful organization, this legacy. Tomorrow is the birthday of the man. This year we're celebrating the centenary of this RBG, red, black, and green flag. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's just major things for me. It's just, and I'm inspired by them vision there. Like when you study Garvey, you know, like it's very difficult for a next man to impress you. Like people say, you know, yeah, big up Jay-Z. Yeah, big up Jay-Z still, but he's not Garvey. Get me?
That's right. Come on.
He never had the,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
the tools.
Yeah, like, you know, like, and that's why I say, like, for me, like, the people don't get why sometimes, you know what I'm saying, that these other guys, like, you know, yeah, big up to them still, but you know what I'm saying, like, man's vision is big, yeah, because the prophet's vision was massive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was major, yeah. So everything is in that context for me. Like, how does these achievements contribute to this, yeah, and help us to build back this? You see what I'm saying? So yeah, like, big up Dan Gotti in that, but he's not Marcus Garvey.
Look how Dr. Oliver was talking.
You get me? You can understand.
I said, look how Dr. Oliver was talking about the Pan-Africans building hospitals in Africa, right? And then people want to say that Pan-African is dead.
But you know what? Yeah, to be fair, yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah. To be fair, I was gonna say, to be fair, yeah. That, you know, there's not a race that's produced a Marcus Garvey. You know, Marcus Garvey is such a phenomenal. You can't find him or someone like him in any other race.
Really,
you know, this man is such a great he's such a great visionary, man. You know what I mean? And you mentioned something, you know, the sacrifice that man made, you know. I don't think people even understand the sacrifice, the tribulations this man went through.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about it, but I don't think there's been much work, you know, been done on that. You know, I might have to do something with that, you know, to show you the fight that the man got from even our own people.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Definitely. You have to show what he had to go through to get to where he, you know, dealing with FBI agents and all that stuff that was going on. They were all after him in such a way. And he still stood strong. And every time he went down, he came back up, you know. Every time they throw him down, he came back up. But, you know, you guys have to think about the level that Marcus Garvey did it. It's almost like what Facebook is doing today to reach the people. And Marcus did it without any technology. He reached the world without the technology. So that in itself is amazing, you know?
Definitely. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's that deep, yeah. That what the brother just said in terms of every time they think about, he come back here. Like not people know about the Black Star Line. Not a lot of people know about the Black Cross Navigation company, yeah, which was developed after the Black Star Line, when the Black Star Line went bankrupt, yeah, because of all kinds of different reasons. They built another shipping company and bought, is it 2 or 3 more ships, yeah? You know what I'm saying? And so that not only shows the resolve of Marcus Messiah Garvey, but the people them that were that were galvanizing and organizing around the vision, yeah, that he had set out. That this they tried something. There were successes, and there were hindrances, but they didn't let the hindrance destroy their resolve that this shipping line must be built, yeah. And they were able to amass the funds to buy 2 more ships, yeah, after the decline of the Black Star Line. And that's the kind of resolve that we're going to have right about now, because enough people like Terry was alluding to at the moment, people are saying, well, this thing did and it now go on, it now work, and them thing there. But the reality is things work and don't work according to what effort we're prepared to put into, Robert Minister mentioned the sacrifice. We ain't sacrificing like Bobby sacrificed.
Wow.
And we're not even facing half the challenges that the man faced. You know what I'm saying? So, you get me? Like,
well, you know what, my brother? Yeah, when they say Garvey failed, yeah, I think that's an accurate statement that people have got so comfortable saying. If Garvey failed, yeah, it's not that Garvey failed; it's we failed or we're failing, because Garvey did his thing. He created the vision. He created the philosophy for us to have.
Definitely.
So it's for us and the people and the generations that's going to come after us to put in that work. We've got everything, like the elder was saying, we've got everything we need.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And we got the example of a Marcus Garvey, as you were saying as well. So there should be no reason for us to be failing right now.
When you actually look at it, right, like what Professor James Small said earlier, in the fact that it was just one stone to the direction where we're supposed to go. It's just that we forgot to put the other stones on top.
Yeah, fam.
Garvey was the cement, the brick, the house, everything. You know what I mean? And that's not to take away anything from anybody else. But you see, this is the thing about it is, yeah, like in Islam, yeah, you can't have an Islam without Muhammad, You can't have a Christianity without Jesus, Yeah. And I'm saying, innit, Garvey is the liberation. He's the manifestation of us organized. We want to be self-determination. What does that look like? What Garvey is the example for that, man. And until we get to that, look at Jamaican history. They said Garvey is a national hero. There's no national holiday for Garvey. Garvey's barely taught about in the school. Do you understand? If it wasn't for Rastafarians, yeah, most people wouldn't even know about a Marcus Garvey today. They kept his name alive in the music and in the culture.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't even acknowledge the real warriors. So we're still a bit far to go. You know what I mean? When we're there, Garvey will be like our God. When we reach that level there, when the mass of people know what time it is for us, Garvey will be our God. And people can record this, or it's recorded, and they'll go back and say, yo, Brother Minister said this 10 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever it takes. Yeah, there will come a time when Marcus Garvey becomes our God or our prophet, as people like to say, but they believe it. The eternal spirit of Marcus Garvey will be dwelling amongst us.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll get some liberation, man. You can't get no liberation if we don't understand what it is. Marcus, I'm not Marcus Garvey. Malcolm X said there could be no white-black unity until there is first some black unity. So I don't. We got to concentrate on the race first element. Yeah, let's take it back to the foundation. So all the listeners and that let's go back to being race first and build from there.
It's funny, yeah. When I was at the Oshun ceremony today, my brethren Dalian, because I've been in like keeping up with the news and that, and he tell me, say, where we lit America, where they are, yeah.
It's a look for Garvey,
Yes, but we've been expecting a storm in the UK, innit? So I'm free. I was on my way home, yeah, and I was putting the two of them together, and the man said, "Look for me in the whirlwind and the storm, When the whirlwind lick America now, and the storm lick Britain now, I'm free in the thing. I'm saying, yo, and like obviously because we're celebrating the 100th year anniversary of the RBG flag and them thing there, yeah. Like I just want, like I pre them things spiritual, family. Like, and if this ain't no spookism, man, I deal with it. Car when it comes to African spirituality, we deal with nature, yeah. You know what I'm saying, and these things, and yeah, man. Like I pre them something there, and I feel like the man is proud, yeah, of the works that at least some of us are doing. to keep the thing alive. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of works are taking place around the world in terms of galvanizing around this centenary, and you know, teaching about the man, the vision, and the plan. You know what I'm saying, and trying to reignite it, yeah, for these generations right now. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the man is proud in it, of these works, and so I look forward to just continuing these works. You know what I mean? And building, because it's about institutions. The UNIA program was about institution building. You know, when you're building schools and clinics, yeah, and shipping lines, when you're building armies, and health and social welfare institutions. You know, these are the things. These are the institutions that are going to make sure that we get power. Because Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, African must get power, and we're not going to get power through campaigning and appealing to our enemies. We're only going to get power by building among ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way to. There's no other way. Nobody can give you no power. With the best, even if they wanted to, they can't give you power. Power is something that you cultivate from within. Is it? So yeah, man, that's the lesson that Marcus Garvey taught us still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wanna hear from D Nice. He's been sitting quietly. He wrote in the back chat that he wants to talk about ancient history in homeschooling. So I'm interested to hear what angle you want to bring, my brother. Can you hear us, D Nice? If you dare, speak up, brother. You gotta unmute your mic. No? Alright, must be trying to sort out his sound. Cool. Continue with your conversation, lad.
Yeah, you know. I could talk about Marcus Garvey whole leg still in myself. Be careful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shakara.
Yeah.
Shakara.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man asked me the other day about the reparations march. But
Yeah.
as someone else who was wait. Yeah, D Nice. Give me a second. I'm gonna come to you in 1 second. I just want to ask my brother a question quickly. And then I want you
Cool.
to talk about what you was talking about in the back chat. Yeah. What was your take on the reparations march, Shakara? How did you find it? You was down there doing interviews and doing your thing. You've
Yeah,
been there many years now. So how did you find it? Was it what you thought it should be? You know, how did you? What was your take?
I've been slow to be overly critical because I didn't have a purview of the whole day, because there was stuff taking place at other places than where I was. You know what I'm saying? But by their own admission, there's been some growing pains in terms of the fact that they tried to do something different this year. You know, in terms of elevating from just a march to you know, civil disobedience. And I think that our community need to be trained on that civil disobedience and acculturated to properly prepared prior to make it effective. I think that the numbers affected the ability of us to be, you know, to act in, to disrupt Babylon's system in a way that probably the organizers wanted us to. So yeah, because of that, I think that there was definitely, in terms of in comparison to previous years, it was a new thing. So people are used to the process in previous years. This was new, and so it looks like it was a little less organized. But I say less organized. It was less effective in certain respects, yeah, by the organizers' own admission. There are, like, I'm a race first man, so there are many critiques that I could have of it on that level. You know what I'm saying? But you know, big up to people in that show. That it was a nice day in it. Like, I enjoyed myself being among Africans. You know what I'm saying? Like, enough people was there. People that you maybe wouldn't expect, yeah, to be engaged in a reparations rally, in that kind of way were there, and that's a positive thing. At least people are engaging with the issue. Do you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I do think that that in terms of what took place at Brixton, Windrush Square, there were less kind of speeches than normal, and a lot more music, and so. For depending on how long you stayed there, you may not have gotten a proper of, you know, what the thing was about, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, that's something that's gonna have to be looked at in the future. Yeah. So yeah, and there's more I could say, but not everything you must say live on YouTube. So
No, don't worry. I appreciate it for that. All right, D Nice, unmute your mic. Talk to us about what the premise was you was thinking that you wanted to talk about in the back chat about ancient history. If you're there, D Nice, unmute your mic,
Yeah,
speak to us, people.
yeah. I was just
Yeah,
I put in the ancient part. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you fine, brother.
All right. Yeah, I just put in the ancient part because I just wanted to fit in with the history thing. But yeah, really and truly, I just wanted to talk about the way we used to homeschool our kids. In other words, let's take it back before the Europeans and everything. It was about learning about the stars, the moon, the land, the grass, the food you eat, the um how to look after your parents, people, friends. Um, it was all that. It was all that we used to that they used to teach their kids back then. And what I'm trying to say is that why are we sending our kids into these schools and these colleges and these universities for places that we actually taught them? So if I mean, the Greeks were the first to come over, weren't they? So like, we taught the Greeks, so they went and taught everybody else. We are the originators of it. Why are we learning from the same people that were I just don't really understand why we're doing that, why we can't just homeschool our kids, why we don't just take them out of those schools, homeschool our kids. And the second thing is, why don't we say like to our kids like, yo, what business would you like to do when you grow up? What would you like to be when you grow up in the aspect of not a worker but an owner? Why don't we influence our kids in that manner? Because we all used to be owners. We owned everything. Our parents owned the land. We own the land too, because the kids own the land too, because the kids were part of the whole decision. I mean, we were owners. Now we're just workers. Something needs to change along them lines.
all right, can I answer that question, if you don't mind?
Yeah, go on then, bro.
Shakara, there's some feedback. There's some feedback on your mic, Shakara. You're really low.
Can you hear me now? Is there some feedback?
Yeah, you're louder now.
I'm louder, but is there feedback though?
Yeah, the feedback's gone down. Yeah, go.
No, I was gonna say, brother, the nice are hesitant there, so I'm gonna leave the answer alone still and make him go on top.
I thought you was gonna answer I thought you was gonna give him a response to his query.
No, yeah, I was, but I asked him, so and he sounded like he was hesitant still. So I want to respect the thing and make him talk still, So yeah.
Is there
No, not that, bro. No, it's not that, bro. It's just that our I mean, if you're adding to it, then cool. But if you're gonna put a downer on it to like say, oh, I don't know what these parents are gonna do, and they might not be able to afford that, and this, what I mean, these kind of things that it's not.
I wasn't.
I mean, if you was gonna go down that line, because if you was, I had a retaliation for that anyway. But I just didn't want to go with the back and forth. You get me? I just want to put the facts out because it's about improvement. It's about now. It's about them kids right now. You understand what I'm saying? It's about the kids them on the road. It's all about that. You understand what I'm saying? And homeschooling is the main cause of it all. What you have to understand, right, is that the curriculum, it changes every 10 years. So the parent doesn't know what the child is doing. It's like you try to do your child's work now. 10 year, 10 years difference, and you're trying to do that child's work now, it's a different thing you're dealing with, because they always change it so you don't fit in with your kid. You understand? So you're not on the same wavelength. This is the reason why your kid wants to go do something else, and you want them to be doing something else. You're not on the same wavelength, and then you have to think about the fact of, all right, the mum, the dad, the whatever goes to work. They go to work, they come home, they might cook a meal, they chill, they go back to sleep, and then they go back to work again. Now, the time within that time of seeing that kid, you may be talking about maybe 4 hours. 4 hours. You got the system has got your kid more than you do. You feel me? I mean, just run it through your head kind of thing. For some people, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt because they're thinking like, yo, I don't know what I can do because, the kid, I can't afford that right now. I can't afford to stay at home and homeschool my kid. But man, the school does the same thing. They will leave that kid in the class doing the work while they're gone out there doing something else, and then come back to the classroom. You could do exactly the same thing. That kid really does not need. I mean, let's just say we didn't live in London. Well, I don't live in London no more because you know what I mean. Anyway, but let's say you're living in London. It's harder, way harder for you to teach your kid the basics of like growing your own food. Teaching them about flowers and things like that. You don't really see a lot of that in London. You might see some fumes, some dust, some angry people running around, another guy that don't know his next door neighbor and they've been living together for the last 8 years. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of stuff going on in London itself. And it's affecting black people themselves, it's hard to, yeah.
Let me say something, yeah. See, I'm hearing what you're saying on certain levels, but the problem that we're talking about of education being the key, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Kids need a better education, but the problem to getting that education to the kids is multifaceted, because you've mentioned a couple of things. You've mentioned the amount of time parents get to spend with their kids because they're working. So you got the economic situation. You've got the breakdown of the black family, which is what we're here to uplift, because most of the time, if you got a one parent family, that one parent, like I'm a one parent. Yeah, I got two boys. I got to make money as well as school them. Now, on saying that, let me say this. Any parent that has their child in school and still wants their child to achieve will have to understand that you're going to have to supplement standardly some of their education. Meaning that if you're not prepared, whether you've got 4 hours, 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours to spare, whatever, but you will have to make some form of bridge gap between what the child is doing at home, at school, to what, something you want to teach them at home, whether it be more of an African-centered thing, whether it be a skill, whether it be like you was talking about with the agricultural side of, all right, let's try and grow something together, some sort of home project. Yeah, let's build a model of something. Let's read a book together. That has to always be happening standardly. So I'll say that to everybody as standard, because remember, not every parent, as I said, based on the multifaceted layers of this problem that we have as black people and the pressures that we find ourselves under, and this is a modern day family, finds themselves under, this is where it's going to get harder to create that environment for the key levels of education. But I'm with you on the smallest of levels, homeschooling, i.e. parents taking charge and micromanaging their kids' education, whether it be at school and what they do in the house, is standard. Yeah, but as I said, it's a lot harder to just run a one narrative on, because there's so many layers of problems and different issues that family has to deal with, where whether it, as I said, it be not enough people in the family structure, not enough money being made, not enough time, yeah, being available to do and have, you know, what you need. And again, these are shit factors.
All right, yeah,
because
I hear
when
you
you
saying.
produce a family, you would ideally hope that you're in a position to be able to deal with these things. And again, this is where, as a community, we need to create more of a support factor or build our own schools. So again, even if parents still have to work, you know that you're dropping your child off to an institution that, as you said, isn't directly run by people who you taught and who are not trying to teach you your own history.
All right. Yeah, bro.
You know what
Can
I'm saying?
I jump?
What
Can
you
I
gonna say?
jump in a sec?
Yeah, bro, come true, bro. What you gonna say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could drop me all your questions to me one by one, but they will most probably all get knocked down, because I mean, all right, you're talking about schooling. We're living in a different day and age, bro. A totally different day and age. You can have your kids sitting at home all day. You can have one guy on a screen giving lessons to billions of people. You understand what I'm saying? So let's wipe that one out. Wipe that one right out. The person doesn't need to be in that classroom. We got this fantasy thing about, oh, we need to open up these schools, and we need to get this, and we need to. No, you don't, man. No, you don't. You know, the simplest things in life are the easiest. You know,
Well,
the simplest way of looking at stuff.
hold up, brother. You just said let's deal with one thing at a time, yeah?
Yeah, all right,
The
one thing. All right. That was the school part. That was
listen, the digital era thing, I'm with you. It allows you to again be at home, but as I said, the counteract to that is if those children are young, then they still need supervision. And if a parent needs to earn money, this is why, again, you will still at some point need an institution or a school type setting, or at least an adult that has the responsibility of watching these children, because we're talking about various ages. Some children are capable and independent of sitting at home and doing that. And even, you know, older children without supervision and somebody to guide them in what they're doing can easily be distracted. So you've got that sidebar. I'm still with you though, that technology can be a tool that we use to learn, because remember, as adults, we can learn a multiples of things now through the internet and for, as you
I
said,
hear what you
sitting
say.
down.
Yeah,
Let me ask.
I hear
Let me ask a
you, bro.
question.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. No, no, no. Let's stay. Barry. Let's just stay where we're at first. Yeah. All right. Or what I'm trying to say, right, is that is I've just pushed out something, right, that could get to billions of people at one time. You see, sometimes what our problem could be sometimes is where we, instead of like, and don't think I'm being negative with you, my friend. All right, don't ever think I'm being negative with you. Instead of us like building on that narrative to say like, yo, this is what we need to do. Let's get a parent in there to look after 6 kids, or let's, you know, let's get one of the youngsters that before they finish school, let them kick back and watch. We don't try and push something in there to try and help out that narrative and build a frame. We cut it down. Someone's just, you know, what I'm saying is that we're cutting our own legs. You understand? Instead of us building on that and say, yo, you know what? Let's try that. but let's put a plan together for that. You understand? See, some people sometimes, I'm not saying you and I'm not saying, but you know, sometimes people get into their feelings like, yo, let's point out all the negatives. Nah, that ain't how we do things, you know? All I'm saying is let's try and build on that, because I can't see a quicker and a quicker and better way of dealing with homeschooling our kids than that right now. I mean, if someone can come up with a better idea than that, I'm all for it. You understand what I'm saying? But this don't cost a penny. But it can cost a small penny for the person that is doing the teaching. You know what I mean? Let's just say we got like 1,000 kids doing this, and they're paying £1 a lesson or something like that. After a certain amount of time, that teacher is going to have so much money. If that person wanted to actually open up a school or buy a farm, and you know, preferably buy a farm than a school, but get a school, then it's possible. You know, you can build, but if no one doesn't want to start building, sorry, all right,
bro.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, bro. Can I just jump in here, because I feel like I can take
go to
where the brother's actually talking about. Yeah, so I can speak to this somewhat, because I've been teaching in an African centered Saturday school for most of my adult life, and in the last few years I've been teaching in an African centered homeschoolers network. Yeah. So I can say that these things are going. That's the first thing. Yeah. So if we want to be solution orientated, the first thing to do would actually be to recognize where things are actually happening. You know what I'm saying? I can mention a number of other Black Saturday schools in this country as well: Afrika Bantu, Queen Mother Moore, Nubia Community Foundation School, and among my own Ad Kewalan Academy of Excellence, and these kinds of things. And then there are people such as who are doing tutoring, for children who are homeschooled, and one of the biggest ones is a brother by the name of David Simon, who is the author of a book series entitled How to Unlock Your Child's Genius, and not only does he do tutoring for children, but he also has a book on how to homeschool, teaching people how to get prepared for the homeschooling process. The reality is that as the African saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And so in essence, individual parents don't educate children, communities and nations do. And so the reality is, the reason why a lot of this is not going on is because we are not organized as a community sufficiently to educate as many of our children as we might want to independently. That's all it is. There are other endeavors, and put it this way, the reason why it would be necessary for some of our parents to not be in the classroom is because when the children leave school, some of those parents have to be running institutions whereby the skills and the training that those children receive as a part of their education, they will be able to utilize those skills to the benefit of their community once they leave school. So some people are going to have to be developing engineering institutions and what's it called? Retail establishments and whatever else it is that we need, scientific institutes, whatever else that is that we need, some of those parents are going to have to be running those institutions so that when their children who are being educated, leave that school, there are places of the community, independently, institutions that they can work in, and so I would like to say that the best way to go from where we are at the moment is to magnify the example of those who are already doing the work. And that brings me back to Marcus Garvey again, because a lot of people don't know that the UNIA had a school, and a university. They had a number of schools and universities whereby their children, were being educated free. In places like Panama, Costa Rica, and them kind of things there, the children of the UNIA were being educated, getting free tuition, Yes, because the organization paid for their education, and they had a Liberty University in Virginia in the States, and branches paid for the education of their children to go and learn at this university also. So it's not, so it takes more than just an individual or a pair of parents. Yeah, it takes a community with a purpose that understand what purpose they want their children to serve, and organizing themselves to fulfill that purpose and create children with the skills and the inclination to fulfill that purpose. That's the only way it takes place. Yeah. So
All right. I hear you. I
And
hear
he
you, bro.
mentioned
You know,
multi-layered stuff, brother. I want you to remember what he just said and explain. There's
yeah.
different levels
Can
of
I do?
organization within that.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
got you.
I just wanted
Got you.
to get back a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, like, you mentioned that quite a lot of organizations there, but I'm a person that don't watch TV, you know. So, you know, I'm always on the net, and or you know, might watch a little YouTube or something or whatever. But I haven't heard of not one of them. I don't know if you're promoting it or I don't know, man. But I haven't heard of one of them, and I'm sure many of my friends. I don't think none of them has heard of any of them. You
Well,
know,
bro,
it's like
this
I think
listen,
the promotion
when
promotion
you
side
say
could.
when you say that, bruv, let's cut the corner. Yeah,
Yeah,
when you say that, I hear you.
yeah,
But now you've heard it. It's about promoting it because you know that my brother is just giving you tangible places to go to get what you're looking for and to at least see a blueprint. And remember, he's gone right back to Marcus Garvey. He's gone back into history to show you that this thing's been
yeah,
running. So whether or
yeah.
not you have seen it personally, we've just tried to give you some comfort in knowing that there are organizations out there. So the point would be now for you to say, let me, all right, cool, that's a good thing. Let me just promote that then. You
Yeah, I want to
understand? Because
build on that. I want to build on it.
they're not
I
on
want to build on
TV,
it.
they're not out there because remember, there's a reason why these systems aren't being promoted, brother. Remember that, innit?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
not accident that you're saying that you haven't heard of these things or these organizations. It's not an accident that our brothers and
yeah, bro.
sisters are not knowing about Marcus Garvey and some of the systems and things that and services that they were providing from back then till now. So that's what you gotta kind of keep in your head. Because I've heard you say, yeah, well, you know, we're talking about problems and this and that. There's problem solvers out there, but they're
Bro, I'm
not
trying to.
going to promote that for a reason. Go true, brother.
Yeah, I was trying to. You didn't let me finish when I started the conversation. You cut me in the middle of it because I was trying to build on his. You see, I'm not the kind of person to throw negative stuff down. I'm the type of person to build on something that is already looking good. You understand what I'm saying? So please, you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
Look,
but brother,
what I'm
hold up, brother. When you came
yeah,
in to this conversation,
yeah.
before we had offered any solutions, you were saying, "Listen, I'm ready. I could slap down anything you guys say as to why." So now that we've given you something positive, you're saying to me, I'm
Yeah,
chopping you down when you're trying to build, but we were trying to build from
no,
the beginning and give you something positive, as well as show you the multi-layered process to sorting this thing out, brother. You understand? So it's cool, build. We're here to build. But that's where we started off from. And this whole weekend has been about people coming on who also share that mentality and who have tried to form institutions or homeschool, whether it be in their own homes or in the wider community, and do that. So that's why we're here, brother. But go through, yeah, brother. Build.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks for that, my friend. Where was that? All right. Yeah. Right. He's got all these institutions are available. Yeah. Am I right to say that? Are they all available? Are they all up and running still?
Yeah, they're up and running. In fact, sorry, can I just put this out there? A lot of them will be listed on a website entitled the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools. Yeah. And so you'll find some information about some of these institutions there. You can search Simon Education for David Simon stuff. And there's a few others. And then if we want to go international, I could talk about people in the States like Queen Thais, Marcus Klein, Mwalimu and Enayaba Ruti. And you know what I'm saying? They are doing massive work on education.
That's good. All right. So I think our next step should be something like to get that one factor, because if you got them all underneath one umbrella, as it looks like, you look like you got them at one website and you got them all under one. Is that correct?
Well, the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools is not an educational institution. It's a website that helps to promote Black educational institutions. Yeah, so it's like a directory. Yeah, and they also run programs, but they don't have a Saturday school or a school. So everybody's not working under one umbrella, but the people that are responsible for that website collate the information and share it with the community. Yeah. And so they act as a hub for centralizing Black independent educational efforts.
Yeah. I mean, if it could be possible that we could actually make it even easier for people to recognize as well, and to kind of like maybe actually try and get them underneath one umbrella, or even a few, you know, even if it's 3 or 4, I mean, that's still a good choice. And even if they were doing, do they actually do different subjects, or are they all concentrating on the same thing?
That depends. I think yeah. So there's some of the same. I mean, you find commonalities. For example, African world history. I would say all those institutions will teach African world history. Some teach sciences, some don't teach sciences, depending on the resources that they have. But what I can say is that they're not a lot of the institutions that I've mentioned. They collaborate. For example, a number of Saturday schools got together, including with West Side Young Leaders Academy. And a couple other child-centered institutions over the last few years to put on Pan-African Sports Day. So at the end of the year, they may all have their separate sports days, but there's a collaboration whereby all of these institutions come together in July to have a collective sports day, and the children compete against each other, and they, you know what I'm saying, them kind of things there. But you know, it's a oneness, it's a spirit of family, and them kind of things there. So no, they're not all operating under one institution, but they are developing operational linkages and unity.
Yeah. All right, I can see. It's more of a thing, because the only way I'm really bringing most of this up is because I deal with a lot of law and that, right? But in the schools right now, it's a thing where if you bring your kid to school in September, and your kid goes back to school, and that kid might get ill or sick or whatever, now they got the right to just take your kid. You get what I'm saying? Like, just take your kid. You know what I mean? They take that kid into quarantine or whatever they want to do. They stay, it's 14 days, but you don't know exactly how many days that's going to be. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm just thinking for the now, like, and what can we do to, because I know, cause, I mean, there's so much brains here, man. There's loads of people here, and there's loads of brains here. You know what I mean? And it's like, what can we do to actually make our own real online school using what we already have? Like, you've got these people. Can we get them all together again and have a real sit down conversation somewhere where we can make one program and then boost it to everybody? I mean, everybody. Like,
bro, I think look, the thing is, yeah, as Shaka was saying, yeah, there are institutions out there, and the fact that you can find them in a collective place under an umbrella name should give you hope again that there is a collaboration of these services happening.
Yeah, now, he said again, they weren't under all. He said they all weren't under. one umbrella.
Yeah, but
No, I don't.
yeah,
I don't think they need to be in that sense. I
Yeah,
think
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say. Put them all together. If we can get them together,
they don't, bro.
and
They
then
don't need to be. There's not only one
no,
school in the UK. Like you got different academies, different schools here in this country.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not the umbrella that links them is that they come under the British education system. Yes. So and that's a level of organization that comes organically. Yes, as a people or as a community develop. So as a people or as a community develop, and we have established what the purpose of education is first and foremost, we will naturally organically link our institutions under an umbrella body. You know what I'm saying, to regulate, yeah, their proficiency and their efficiency in terms of churning out the children that we need. Yeah. At the moment, what's happening is that you have different people, different schools that are collaborating at various different levels. Yes, that is the stage of development that they're at the moment. Okay, but one thing I can say is that if you talk about Simon Education, David Simon, most of his tutoring is done online. Yeah, he has an online school, and he's also developing an online Black History resource as well. So a lot of that is taking place at the moment as well. In fact, my own daughter does online tutoring. Yeah, she's 16 years old. All right. So all of that work is taking place. So we have to go through now just making sure that we're building from that foundation and developing the incremental changes that will enable us to be more effective and more macro, yes, in our organization rather than just micro. But it takes going through the processes. So it takes brothers like us, yeah, be active in the institutions as they already exist, yes, and helping to develop them into what we know they can and need.
I think something's happening to your mic
again.
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
some feedback.
It's like a white noise. It's like white noise feedback.
It was fine. It's like something popped up.
Is it still there?
No, it's gone now. Cool.
Cool.
What's going on, Melanated?
Peace to everyone on the panel. I was trying to really understand what the contention was about the education system for children. It sounded as if, and I can't really see anyone's names, but the brother that I'm kind of unfamiliar with, D-Nice.
Yeah, that's
like the rapper. Okay, you know there was a rapper named D-Nice, old school rapper. Yeah. It's kind of nostalgic. Your name, D-Nice. Yeah. So like D-Nice was saying about having more African-centered schools. Although it would be nice to have like a centralized place, what I'm not saying that that's not needed, right? I think that's also needed. Like we would like to have a directory of Black-owned businesses. We would like to have like just all of these different like blackety black Afrocentric RBG, communities already established, but in all reality, they're all in the process of being established, right? But what I appreciate about the different schools, such as the one that Brother Shakara mentioned, if you can realize that these schools are more so of distinct communities, right? So to be a member of the community is kind of like by word of mouth. It's kind of like I can vouch for this person, so then this child can now come to the school. And it's just not any and everybody coming to the school, regardless of whatever their affiliation, orientation, their background, and so forth, right? So it's more so of establishing a community of like-minded people with like-minded children. Do you see the difference in that? So like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So you can have a website and you can have a directory getting phone calls from everybody. But if all of those people, if their children and those families won't actually be appropriate for the village that you're building, then what's the purpose in recruiting everyone and soliciting to everyone, if having marketing to everyone? You know what I'm saying? Like when the Jewish community is doing something, they don't go to Jehovah's Witness hall and put posters up in front of Jehovah's Witness hall because they're not marketing to those people, right? So the average person is not privy to what events they're having. They market to themselves. So the thing about it is that like my friends whose children go to African centered schools where they learn about Queen and Zinga, they are actually extending invitations to other parents who are already on that frequency that actually value African centered schooling. So they don't care how much the tuition is. They don't care about what the uniform policy is. They don't care about what the dietary policy is because they see the value in their children being in that environment. So it's more so of a referral, community village type of that they're building, as opposed to having just a website on the internet and everybody and their mama just trying to get in there. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not. That's what public school is. Hello.
You
Hello.
killed the show. You killed the whole
I just want to say,
yeah,
you're absolutely correct. Yeah, the dance done, the party done. You know what I'm saying? We can go.
That's it.
No, I'm saying like, look. Let me tell you, brother Shakira. My I call her my niece, right? My niece goes to the school out here. If anybody wants to take a look, it's called a Wilson Baker School out here in Maryland, right? This school is fucking dope. Like I wish I had a kid at the age to go to the school. You feel me? Like yo,
Sorry,
yes.
can I ask you this? Is the school named after Amos Wilson and Ella Baker?
It might be because it's Wilson Baker. As a matter of fact, the event that M.A. Brown invited me to, that was like a Pan African something, and it was like like everybody and their mother was on this Zoom call. The owners of the program of the school were featured there. Like I was like, oh, I know this school. Like
I know who you're
I've
talking
been
about.
to.
Yeah, the brother was on our Star Imhotep's show the other day. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
That school, when I tell you, my little niece, the name of her social studies class is called Knowledge of Self. That's the name of the class, Knowledge of Self. You feel me? Like she be just telling me, she be just breaking down the history to me. She be like, Auntie, guess what I learned? Da 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 da. I'll be like, damn, yo, let me. Who is this? Let me. She was telling me about Burkina Faso. I was like, yo, wait, hold on. Who is this? What I gotta do? Wait, where I gotta look up? You feel me? Like, but guess what? She got into that school off of invitation only. Anybody cannot register their kid in that. It don't matter how much money you have. They want to know. They want to know where your mind is at. You cannot be bringing no honey buns, no Reese's Pieces buttercup, no junk food for your kids, no processed meat. Your lunch has to be like organic, like a meal that's like not processed food, no color and dye and shit. Like every day their uniform is African attire. Like it's very strict to go to the school. So you have to be of like mind. It's not about having a website and inviting strangers. This is building a village. You're building your community. So when she says I want to spend a night by Mama Asante house, you like okay. You know what I'm saying? If Baba Jones want to bring his sons over to play, these are your brothers and your sisters. This is your aunties and your uncles. It's a whole different mindset than public education and just a regular school system. So while I appreciate it would be great for us to have this wealth of information, I can see the value in having an exclusive and a small network of people that you begin to trust. You begin to trust your offspring with, and you build from there. And I see the value in that. Like I mean, my niece is doing awesome. She was doing horrible in public education, and she is is soaring. Her confidence is great. She's learning African dance. She's around young men who are doing the drum. They're doing the step dance, and I mean, it's just that she's learning. She's not. I think she's learning Yoruba. I think that's her. So their second language in middle school is Yoruba. Like this is I'm not used to this in public school. Like that's just like unheard of.
It's mad. So yeah, man,
Yeah.
I had a good opportunity to deliver a presentation on education at the RBG Centennial Conference last weekend, and that's one of the things that I said, that a lot of the results that we're getting from these African centered schools are monumental, and so one of the things that we need to do is collate the information in terms of the successes, and record it, and make it available in terms of what is being produced out of these educational institutions. What the achievements are, what the grades are. You know what I'm saying? What what businesses the children are building, creating, and you know what I'm saying, them kind of things there.
And I think like my sis, she would be an excellent testimony, because what I can say is that in traditional education, right? I'm gonna say my niece is soaring, but she's not soaring without any. She does have to put additional effort because she has a learning disability.
Right.
But for some reason, in this setting, her disability is not a hindrance. She has to put a little bit more effort, so it takes her longer to do her assignment. She has to, like, her homework will take her the entire weekend, where somebody else may do it, complete it on Friday evening, and so forth. But whereas in traditional education, they were unable to accommodate a person who has different learning when they introduce dance and drum and the arts and like different ways to even just complete an assignment. Then it opens up a variety of ways for her to express her mastery of these concepts, and she's able to demonstrate mastery of concepts, but not through non-traditional means. And this is what this specialized education setting has done for her, that she's able to express mastery of concepts in a non-traditional way.
Yes.
So
Powerful.
I think that if she was to do a video or a commercial or just give a review, my sis would be like, this school system has been the best thing since sliced bread, like for her daughter, because her daughter was, it's defeating when you're getting poor grades every day and low marks and all of these little negative circles and X's on everything, and you're just like, oh wow. And now you're in a new environment, and your teacher allows you maybe to stand up during class time. Just something very minor, you know what I mean? Like they allow you to stand up during class time, or they allow you to speak your responses instead of writing them down, or whatever the case may be, and you're able to get 100% or 80% or something else, and your confidence is improved. It's
Melanated.
Awesome.
Melanated. Let me say something. In the chat, somebody's saying they agree with the concept, but they don't agree with the exclusion. I just want to say this here. Even in the normal world of normal schools, they have criterias of what they're prepared to accept kids on. So they will tell you the rules of what they do, whether they're a Catholic school and they're saying, right, you need to go mass this time a week, or, we're musical schools, so we expect all the kids to learn an instrument and dedicate themselves to such and such, whether it's a sporting ethos school. So to me, when
what do they mean by they don't agree to an exclusion? What do of any kind?
I'm just assuming it's based on, as you were saying, the criteria of the school. So the fact that they're inviting like-minded parents, that's the part I'm assuming that the sister in the chat was talking to. And if she was, that's why I was bringing up the point that any school has a criteria. They may allow anybody to walk through the doors and apply, but they're not accepting just anyone. They're still going to accept you based on whether or not they believe and you believe that you can work with the existing criteria of that school.
Sorry, is somebody watching a different world? Is somebody watching a different world?
That's his ringtone. That's his ringtone.
Sorry, that was.
It's a different.
That's how Melanie got his nose. She's.
Yes. I'd be like, he do not put his phone on mute. I don't understand why he don't put it on mute, but you gotta love Brother Richard.
I won't hear shit then. I won't hear shit. Next minute I'll look down and I've got like 10,000 messages all in, and I'm like, oh shit.
But I mean, to the person in the chat who has issues with the exclusionary thing, you tell the Masons to allow us to come to their meetings, even though we not Masons. You tell the AKA and the Deltas and the Kappas and the Alphas to allow us to come to their meetings, even though we're not part of their fraternities or their sororities. You tell the Catholic Church to allow us to come to a Catholic school, and you don't give them the name of the Catholic Church that you are attending. Like, it just don't make no cotton picking sense at all, because if you go into a Christian school, they ask you, what is the name of the Christian church that you are affiliated with? They do ask you. They want to know the name of your pastor. They want to know the address, the phone number. Like, it's just that simple. I don't know if you've ever tried to register your child to a Christian church, but I've even seen where they have a different fee. They have a fee for a Christian person, and they have a different fee for a non-Christian person, right? So, but that may be how that particular institution operates. But I can't tell the Masons they're supposed to let a woman in and that they discriminate in if part of their membership is for men. I'm not a man. I can't be like you. Just certain things you just gotta accept that, when something is considered private, then you gotta take your hurt feelings somewhere else because it's private. So if you have a private school, then they have a private right to select their students. That's just like, it's just simple. Like, I don't even understand what that argument would be, because I'm not speaking about a public education system. I'm speaking about a private institution and how they choose to select the people that participate in their company, in their organization. Like, I don't know. That's just.
Well, again, the sister in the chat room is saying that she's a Muslim and she attends a Catholic school. To me, and I gotta ask you, sister, what country are you from? I am interested, because majority of the time that's not happening, and if it is happening, I would contest that maybe they're taking you. Again, the common denominator is that you're religious. You're a religious practicing person.
Again,
so there's going to be a regime, though, isn't there? That's attached
hold on,
to
but
that.
listen, she's saying she's a Muslim and she attended a Catholic school. So the Muslims believe in Abraham and the Catholics believe in Abraham. But would the Catholic school take a person who practices Ifa, who don't know nothing about it, Abraham or Isaac or Jacob, right? A Jesus or Hezekiah or all these other people? That's a different story. So,
but
again,
even then, so sister, that it would be true to say though that a Catholic school would have a quota. They often have quotas in terms of how many non-Catholics they're gonna induct into the school, if that makes sense. So even that, there's a criteria. Like you'll never go to a Catholic school and it's majority Muslim. Like, that's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You'll find, you might find 1-2 Muslim in there because, there's a quota. You have to accept a few, non-denominationals or people that are not from your denominational religion. But the point is that there's still a criteria, within the school in terms of how they admit and who they admit.
Right. And at the same time, when that Muslim student attends a Catholic church, those parents are agreeing to their children being subjected to Catholic ideology. So when it comes to like-mindedness, all of the parents are agreeing upon the ideology set forth for their children. So where you may feel excluded the parents there feel encouraged and supported, that the environment is conducive to their way of life. And I think that that's, so I think the best thing would be is for parents to seek out, a Muslim school or a Catholic school or whatever denomination or belief system. They have 7-day Adventist schools, who aren't in agreement with Catholicism. So like, I think the focus on the exclusion part is a bit much. Like, I don't really get it. I don't see why you would want to fight for being exposed to pantheism when you're a monotheistic person who believes in Allah. Like, then you're gonna come home and say, "Oh, you teaching my child about Oshun." Well, dumb, what did you feel? What did you think by coming to bringing your child here? She gonna learn
Right.
about she gonna learn about Oshun, or he gonna learn about Oshun. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't then say, "Oh, you're teaching my child against my beliefs." Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Listen, I think the safest thing, again, barring government quotas, the numbers, and all the rest of it, and geographical denomination, and nominations, and all the rest of it, you're going to want to send your child to a school where you agree with the general ethos of what they're doing, and it works best for you. That's usually how schools work. Like,
Right.
you're gonna go to the best school that's tailored to the ethos in which you want your child to learn. So again, that would just be the ideal thing. But to the person that started this conversation, Mr. D Nice, and I see you there. Like, now you've got a bit of big back information now on organizations and stuff. Is there anything you want to add to the conversation? Do you feel a bit better about what's being said? Do you feel a bit inspired now that you've heard about these organizations? Do you have any final comments you want to say on the matter, or is there anything else you want to add? Oh, true.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the queen there. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, she was talking some facts, man. You know, man. But as I was saying before, man, I'm trying to get to people to make them understand the first thing. The first thing is that the kids can be taken out of school at any time. Yeah, that means your kid in other words, your kid's just going to be kidnapped. You understand? That is the most important thing. And I'm trying to find some way of us coming together some way, or because I mean, you lot know some peeps, you know what I mean? I watched the show for a little while, you get what I'm saying? So I know you lot know some peeps, you know what I mean? And you can get to some of these people to say, like, to come together to form something, even if it is on the internet, for parents to actually somehow, because if we don't start something with this, boosting it out there and getting it out there properly and making it really simple for them to find it, something simple for them to grasp, to make it easy for the person, because people are really, they don't want to do too much work. You know what I mean? People they don't want to do too much work, and right now it's something that can be started. And if you can start something like this, you know how big just doing this can get so many black families together in one place. I mean, this is just the start of just thinking about the kids, but later on it's gigantic. But it's not what it seems like from a load of the conversations is, it's not easy. That's all I'm saying. It's not easy. It just doesn't look like, because when I was saying that I don't know about it and I haven't heard about none of these institutions, I mean, there must be billions of black people out there that is in the same position as me. Why not actually, we got all these platforms and we know these people with these platforms, and this is something dear to our hearts, our kids. You understand? Well, not for me. It won't be my kids now. It'll be my grandkids. You get what I'm saying? But these things, is dear to people's heart. Their kids, their family. And if you're thinking of these kids can just be taken at any time, and you know whose kids are going to be taken, you get what I'm saying? We don't need to put that out there. You know what I mean? But just knowing that fact that your kid can just be taken out of the school, or your grandkids, if anybody's got any grandkids here, that fact alone should just make you think, yo, we need to do something. We need to do something, and we need to make it easy. If we can just come together, put our heads together, and just make it easy for somebody to grasp it. One website that's got a Twitter, it's got Instagram, it's got a Facebook page, it's got its YouTube. You get me? You can do a website if necessary, but that could take longer. But to do all those other instruments, it's easy. We can have, once we've got it locked in to say, like, this is the perfect site for everything to work, so it's easy for the parents to look at. What do you want your kid to learn? There might be certain subjects that these teachers, like, there's a teacher in here already, he could dedicate himself to 2 subjects maybe, and get paid for it, but if we can just make it easy. All I'm saying is, if we can make it easy, that's all I'm trying to say. Really,
what I'm saying is that there are institutions out there, right? And if you're saying make it easy, and I'm not trying to just put you on the spot, but if we were to poll the average person and see if they have ever in their entire life typed the search engine African-centered education, they probably haven't. They probably have never searched for that within their immediate environment to find out if there are websites, if there are schools already established in their community. So to me, what I'm saying, let's not make excuses for parents. Parents who really want to find African-centered education, they will find it. You know why? Because they are part of the community, and people in the community are speaking, right? So they will find it. There's no way you're going to tell me a Muslim person is not going to find where there's a Muslim school. See how crazy that sounds? You would think they're going to know where that school is. So someone who's part of the Black community, who's part of the conscious community, who's part of the Pan-African community, they are going to know where the schools are. It's not a question. They're not going to not find that. I don't know why you're making it seem as this is hidden information. They're going to know.
Listen, they are going to know. And I was going to say this, last Tuesday, we had a conversation about coronavirus, the vaccine, masks, all the rest of it. But again, part of that conversation was talking about the fact that, again, more than likely, they're going to want to vaccine your kids. They're going to want to impose different medical issues. So this subject matter, what you're saying, brother, about them being able to take kids, do stuff, is a real thing. It's not something that, again, we're going on like isn't a real subject. And I think a lot of parents are going to have to face this issue if they're about not taking the vaccine, or they're not into any invasive medical procedures or certain other rights being lost, or your kids being taught about gay and transgender stuff. There's 1,000 things a minute coming up in the education system that are definitely making this a subject that needs to be dealt with. You understand? That needs, as you're saying, our own education systems. But when you say let's make it easy, that's like, again, us talking today and doing this whole Black History Weekend to build an institute just to send some kids on a rites of passage journey, which should be standard issue for all of our children. But we're having to do a whole fundraiser and literally create something from the scratch, because, again, we're addressing a problem that isn't there. And teachers in the normal world haven't got it easy. they're not getting paid for their job. Because a true teacher, there's certain jobs as I see here that are not 9 to 5. A teacher is one of them. A true teacher is not a 9 to 5 job. Yeah, a true nurturer and inspirer of children is not a 9 to 5 job. The same way being a social worker, the same way being a doctor, these are not 9 to 5 jobs, because it usually will take you out of the realms of normal parameters for people. So when you're talking about, again, organizing these things, we have to understand what's involved in that and respond accordingly. But I'm with you that this is definitely something that, as black parents, grandparents, yeah, and a community in general, whether it's in England or in America, because earlier we had a brother who came in the chat room called Q Butter. He's from New York. He runs his own school. He started his own school, yeah, where he teaches STEM, he teaches higher science. He's funded by the parents and the community. So again, there are people that are responding to exactly what you're talking about. And it is a subject matter that people are going to have to deal with. You understand? At some point in the near future, definitely. So I'm with you on that one. Does anyone else have anything they have to add? Because give this another like half an hour. I'm going to be winding this down. So I mean, people in the chat, if you've got any questions, if you've got anything you want to say, or you want to ask any of us, please feel free while we're here. Remember why we're here and why this whole Black History Weekend was put into place. Dr. Llaila Afrika Youth Exchange for rites of passage for 15-year-olds to 21-year-olds. That was the whole point. So again, if you haven't donated, if you haven't shown some love, go ahead and show some love. Yeah, if you enjoyed what's been going on Black Eyes TV, subscribe to the channel and support it. Share out the video. You know the usuals. Yeah, me. And if you've got something to say, feel free. The link's been put up in the chat. Come on, say your piece. God, Melanae Goddess, I see you unmute your mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I did notice a little theme of, pretty much kind of comparing the appearance, not the appearance, but comparing how Islam and Christianity could kind of coexist, and how people who practice Christianity could, Muslims can attend their facilities and vice versa, right? And basically saying that that's an example of them not being exclusionary. And I do think that, both of those systems fall under what's called Abrahamic traditions. And just the same way as a Muslim man could marry a Christian woman, they have that in place for a reason, right? So that they believe that it's the same deity, the same God or Father God, just that they're using different names. And that, I guess, ultimately, the woman will see that the Quran is the fulfillment and all that good stuff, right? But that doesn't necessarily be a hindrance, right? But I think that's a very narrow perspective to take, because when you start to bring other belief systems that are non-Abrahamic, then you have all of these religious connotations come into place of what's considered to be idolatry, what's considered to be demonic, what's considered to be witchcraft, and all of these other derogatory terms, right, that come into place. So, what I'm saying is, like, let's not be fake, right? Let's not be phony and pretend that that mentality does not exist, right? But if you have 4 or 5 or 7 different African spiritual systems, I think that all of those students could attend the same school. I think that they all of them will not have issues pouring libations to the ancestors. It doesn't matter if they practice voodoo, if they practice Ifa, if they practice Kemetic spiritual, like that. Libations is not going to be seen as anything witchcrafty, demonic, bad, or it's not. They're all going to be accepted, right? So this is the difference. So when people in the chat are making this comparison, you let me know of the Catholic Church that allows libations. I mean, I've never seen it, but you let me know of the Catholic Church where you're saying Ashe up in there. Like, I don't know. So
Like before I even get to that though, I, I want to I want to throw up an interesting point though, yeah, because Satanism is actually a real religion. I doubt that the Catholic Church will admit a Satanist into its midst. Like a child of Satanist, like practicing Satanist. You know what I'm saying? Hey, big up to Queen Liambi.
yes,
You know what I'm
big
saying?
up sis Queen Diambi. Look, she says in Nigeria, children from traditionalist families have to pretend being Christians or Muslim to avoid being abused or even expelled from school. So, people in the chat, brothers and sisters in the chat, like this is not to come against you, but this is really to open your eyes as to why there is a need for a members only school. It's because to avoid this type of abuse. This is to allow children to go to school freely and be happy to be a traditionalist, to practice their traditional belief systems. If they want to pay reverence and honor and homage to their ancestors, they can do that free of ridicule, free of being called what do they call you? What's those derogatory words? Like you're just a pagan and all these other words. They could just be themselves.
You know, I'd love information on that. On the children being excluded from school for being adherents to indigenous spiritual systems. I'd love some information on that, Queen Diambi. If you are able to point me in the right direction, I'll be grateful.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we've seen in Jamaica with the locks thing recently.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
They outcasted us because of locks. We can't get education if you got locks.
Imagine that where Jamaica 2020, you know. Imagine that Tarantino. You get me? And that's just locks. Not even libation or that. That's just locks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? Serious.
That's crazy, man. I can't even believe that happened in Jamaica. I just can't even believe that happened in Jamaica.
I can.
Why?
That's how you're saying your power.
You see, Jamaica, a lot of people don't know. Yeah, Jamaica is run by England, so a lot of the laws in Jamaica is British laws.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess through the music, maybe I'm just like it's blindfolded. Like I feel like the Jamaicans have such a very like they speak about the politics and the corrupt system and government and Bun Babylon, and you hear like all of this stuff that you would think that is entrenched in the minds of the people of the land.
It is. I would think it is embedded in the people, but the people doesn't represent the government.
But the people could they don't like any kind of uprise whatsoever. They just take it. I mean, like somebody gets sent home and told to cut their locks, and they just be like, "Oh well, just cut your hair."
I think a lot of people have done that. And with what happened in England is there was a case where a young person was suspended from school because of his hair. Yeah. And when I was there at the protest for that, I spoke to a lot of other mothers there, and a few of them said, you know, I cut my child's hair because of it. So there's people out there that are cutting their children's hair to attend these European institutions.
So the parents just pretty much just gave in and just cut their child's hair.
Yeah, because they you know, the brother asked a question when he came in, yeah, and I was gonna say something, yeah, but you know, I should have, because now it comes back to it. I don't think the mass of our people understand the conditions that we're in. This is why we send our children to these schools and all of these other things, because we don't see that these people are the enemy. We don't see that the education is the problem. We think that this is going to help us. So you're going to naturally send your child to school to get an education if it's going to create a job for them. Do you understand? But you don't see the conditioning and the training process that's in it. That's why, as Dr. Amos Wilson said, the more educated we got, the more problems we got. Because education is not solving our problems. But in Jamaica, going back to the Jamaica thing, Jamaica is Europe. You know, the people is rebellious. You know, we got a rich culture there. But in terms of the ruling, you know, we the Queen of England run Jamaica.
That's just I don't know. I mean, I guess the people won't get up, stand up for your rights. No, that's not happening. Get up, stand up.
When you look at Jamaican history in general, we've got a rebellious history, but at the same time, Rasta is not something that has been accepted in Jamaica. You know, if you look at like the Coral Gardens, that the history of where Rastas was prosecuted because of their locks, they called them the Black Heart Men. They used to go around the place cutting the hair off of Rastas. You know, like Rastas.
But what about okay, so like, you know, I'm like, what about if you don't accept Rasta, you don't accept all of Rastafari, right? Mm-hmm. I've met many Jamaicans that I would be like, oh, you Rasta? They'd be like, no, I'm not Rasta, but I agree with like 90% of the doctrine. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only part that they don't agree with is that like Selassie I was like a divine person, you know, but all of
culturally, remember this,
right? So
what I'm saying is that Jamaicans got
if
the Rasta culture.
You believe in that, what I'm saying is that if you have that cultural part, right? Where is the fight? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Listen. Let me back up, because I recognize that over these airways, like, I hear you and I speaking the same, but I know that people will say she's an American person saying this to a non-American person, right? I understand that there are lots of opportunities and avenues where Americans can fight. So let me just put that on the record of me saying that. Absolutely, 100%. There are different areas and a number of instances where it's like, well, what y'all ain't gonna do nothing? I get that, right? I'm saying that in this day and age, most people do not think about the origins of locks as something anything remotely considered to Africa. They associate locks with Jamaica, right? Most people in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. Especially anybody 25 and younger, they are not even fucking thinking about the continent. They are like, Jamaica, locks and weed. That's all they think about, right? They smoke weed and they got locks.
No, I hear you.
So what I'm saying is that it just sounds like I would think it's a bunch of people over there with some locks and like bumbleclot. We ain't having that shit. We doing something. We protesting. Nah, my child going for school. Man, I deal with it. Like, but like, I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm ready to buck something with y'all. And it's like,
but you gotta understand, a lot of the Rastas there, a lot of the foundation
it's
Rastas
like, okay, they're not going to school. Like,
they're not sending their child to school anyway. They run school. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there's different elements. There's different elements to it. But the point I'm trying to get to you, though, I hear your point. There's people in Jamaica.
So they have their own school. When you say they run school, I'm sure they educate their children.
They educate their children, because you got places like Bubba Hill. They got a system where they educate their children, but it's not. You're not learning maths, English, and science. You know, they're teaching them about the culture that they're living in, farming, you know, and chanting. And, you know, all of these things. But the point I was trying to make to you is that Jamaica is not an independent nation.
I get the colonial rule, yeah.
Yeah, so you would think, you know, we don't have that power to say.
So this is a law. This is like a law. Like, so it's not this one school. This is like any school. Is what you're saying?
Right, that's right, yeah.
So school, you can't have locks and go to school.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's bad. That school just stuck to the law. You know, some schools might just allow you, but that school saying, no, this is the law. You know, you can't have hair past your shoulder, for instance. So that's the issue. But they're going to fight and they have to win. You know, it's gonna go to the Supreme Court, but they will fight and they have to win because they can't deny Rasta in Jamaica. Like that's insulting. We put
That's
the
crazy.
Rasta
So
put
like, what
Jamaica on the
about
map.
if you was a Rasta, like which one is it? Is it the Naya Bingies, the one that wrap their hair like Sisla
No, that's
that
the
they always
Baba Shanti.
Baba Shanti. So the
Uh-huh.
ones that have their hair covered, if your hair is covered, then it shouldn't be an issue, correct?
No, because they will still find an issue with it.
No, I mean,
because it doesn't go with their uniform dress code. Do you know what I mean? But you know,
I just
they
think
will
that
win.
this
They will win,
is
sister.
to
They will
me,
win.
this is a huge.
I just want to say, yeah, quickly, I'm logging off, yeah, cause you get me, man. I have to get up early tomorrow, cause you know,
Yeah,
I said it.
Garvey live.
You get me, so you know, so yeah, big up Black
big up
Ice.
yourself every time, bro.
Tomorrow's
Yeah,
your birthday. Tomorrow's your birthday.
Indeed. So yeah, so well, I said big up. You know what I mean? Big up about my old man.
Listen. You already know. Tell my sis. I said peace, blessings, rise up to the warrior queen. What?
Love.
And baby Shakara too.
Yeah, man, I let them know.
Amen.
Start. We'll talk.
All right.
Yeah, we'll catch up.
Bless up.
all right, family. Later.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, isn't it? But Jamaica, the rest of the community in Jamaica, they will win that. They have to. There's no way.
Make sense, man. It sounds like going to a school in, I don't know, like going to a school in America and they're like, I don't even know, like a black young man can't have a flat top or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it just seemed like weird, like something that's distinctly a distinct part of the culture is not accepted.
Yeah, but Rasta and Jamaican government have a weird relationship because at the same time they will use Rastas for tourism and all of that, reap the benefits of Rasta. But when it comes to the everyday living, Rastas get persecuted. You can't smoke weed, you can't do this, you can't do that. Do you know what I'm saying? But times have changed.
You can't smoke weed.
Weed is illegal. Weed is illegal in Jamaica. I think now the law changed last year September. The law changed where they said that the Rastafarian can have personal use in it. But prior to last year,
you said weed was illegal. That sounds crazy. Because people would tell me stories like, I've been to Jamaica only on a cruise. So everybody that told me they went to Jamaica, they was like, as soon as they come off the plane, people was trying to sell them weed. So I'm like, how are you smoking weed if it's illegal?
Yeah, it's illegal.
That's crazy.
It's illegal. If you get caught smoking weed, you have to pay money quickly to the police officer, or you're going caught and go to prison. Enough people's in prison for weed.
In Jamaica, that sounds crazy. Like that is like, I don't know. That's the equivalent of getting caught for jaywalking in New York City. Nobody gets caught for jaywalking in New York City. Everybody crosses the street before the light changes. You see what I'm saying? Like that's just a way of life. So
that's what I'm saying. Melanin goddess. See, you might as well just stay in New York and smoke your weed. No point thinking Jamaican smoking.
No, weed ain't legal in New York. What you talking about?
You have to move to Cali.
You gotta go to Midwest, exactly.
You gotta go to Cali for that.
Gotta go to
they're gonna make it legal in your zone soon, though. That's what I keep hearing on the airways.
It's legal in DC. It's legal in DC, but it's not legal in Maryland, and I think it's legal in the Midwest, and I think Washington State is legal. I don't know about Cali. It's legal in Cali too?
Yeah, it's legal in some parts of Cali. California is a big state, so
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So like, it's getting legal all over, but it's not legal yet. Like
what is legal over here in the UK is CBD. That's now legal over here. And Jamaica.
we have CBD over here.
You can go to the shop in London and buy CBD buds to smoke.
Listen, I was trying to give my dog some CBD so her ass would calm down, but
I'm not talking about the oil. I'm talking about the buds to smoke.
Oh no, I didn't have the buds. I just had the oil.
Yeah.
But you don't have the buds, man.
No, I didn't see no CBD buds.
What are you saying?
What's a CBD bud?
Why is it always gonna be for the dog? Why is it gonna be for the dog or for someone else? Why are you trying to put it on someone else for?
No, I'm saying, listen, I bought the CBD oil for myself because I had body pain, but my dog has a lot of anxiety.
Your
so
dog.
she'd be like, she'd be barking and she'd be trying to bite people for no reason. So I was like, you know what? Let me just hook her up a little bit. But she don't even relax too much. Like she relax only a little bit. I'll be like, look, this thing costs too much for me to be giving you all of my stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like she just get a lot. I give her a lot. It have to give her a lot for her to calm down. So yeah, that didn't work so well.
Just blow the smoke in the dog's face. Just blow the smoke in the dog's face instead of rubbing the oil on the dog. Might work better.
You lot are doing cruelty to animals, man. You know, I'm not with the cruelty to animals.
Listen, one time my dog, I'm not gonna incriminate myself. I'm gonna just say there was another party in my home that exposed her to the THC part, right? And I was about to take her to the damn vet. I didn't know what the hell was wrong with her because she just wasn't moving. She was like still like. She just was like a statue. I was like, what the hell happened to my dog? He was like, yo, she's high. She'll be all right. I was like, oh my God.
How you doing, Queen DMB?
I'm doing well. Just hanging out with my future, you know.
What's good? Do you have anything to add to the conversation that you've heard so far?
Oh my goodness! Wow. I'm sorry, Queen DMB. I'm talking
do you rub
nonsense.
Do you rub weed oil on your animals? Is this something you do?
I use hemp ointment for my joints. Sometimes I have sore joints. Yes, so I do use hemp ointments. They have like creams and things like that. So natural medicine is definitely something wonderful that we have had for thousands of years. African people are the founders of medicine, and we have an immense knowledge and immense body of understanding of how nature works and how it can work to the benefit of of life and promoting and sustaining life. I just wanted to hang out with you for a few minutes, just to congratulate all of you and to thank all of you for the hard work that you are doing. And just come out there. It's a risk because when you come out there, you tell your truth. It's always a risk because you don't know who's gonna be coming against you or are going to be teasing you a little bit or challenging you on your own worldview. But it's okay. Unity doesn't mean that we have to be all the same. It doesn't mean unicity. We are so beautiful in all our differences, in all the different experiences that we have accumulated over the thousands and thousands of years that we've been around. And it's so amazing that the younger generation is really using this medium of connecting us all together from different parts of the world, and everybody's coming to speak their truth. Every experience is absolutely unique. Our own background, each of us individually is unique, but that doesn't take away the fact that we are having unique experiences in a collective, frame, which is the framework of the African people, as we're talking about the African family here. Yes, we can go and debate and say the entire planet is an African family. However, right now we are focused on the experience of the melanated African people who have been the last one to populate the continent and are still there. And then some of us, have been, taken away by force to be kidnapped, transported, and put into forced labor camp for centuries. And then there's so much more to talk about that experience that has, it's permeating a lot of who we are, and it's permeating a lot of, what are the struggles that we have in front of us. Not to forget that on the continent itself, we were also fighting the same struggle, because when they were kidnapping people from one hand, from one family, that family that remained behind was left without their family members. So it was not like it was only a one-sided, issue. The issue was also on the ground. I'm reading a book now with the African queens, talking about Queen Zinga and how much she fought to preserve, her boundaries of her kingdom, and it was always, treaties that were betrayed, and the weaponry of the Westerners was so intense compared to what we had on the ground. So the fight was on. The fight was on for centuries and centuries and centuries, and it's not over. And we have to be strong. We cannot be impatient. We have to see that we are doing progress. If I was born in the Congo maybe 50 years ago, or let's say, I would say, 60 years ago, I would have been born under the colonization of the Belgians. And if I was born in the Congo over 90 years ago or 100 years ago, I would have been maybe a victim of people cutting my hands because I didn't produce enough rubber. So although we are making progress, sometimes I understand that we can be, discouraged. But the progress today is absolutely amazing. I hear a lot of transformation in our communities because we are talking to each other. So the fact that we are connected to each other, the fact that we are all coming and putting our a grain of rice in the pot, it means that we having more and more tools to see how we can tackle this reality and how we can make a difference to make African people advance. And and it's, again, not to say that we have to be isolated from all the other human beings on the planet, but we do have pressing matters that are really our issues because we are the one victim by the consequences of some of these policies and these behaviors that we see in our world today against Black people and advancement of Black people in the world as a whole. Because the pain that I'm feeling in Kinshasa, we can feel the same pain in Rio de Janeiro. We can feel the same pain in the streets of London. We can feel the same pain in Paris or in Bogota. So we have a lot in common, and that's the experience we have to put together, and we have to be able to recognize each other and understand that we have a common fate in front of us, and we have to get together. We have to get stronger together. We have to grow together also. Unity. We talk about unity, but unity is I was just referring that earlier. Unity is a practice. It's not something that's just going to come because we look the same, or we have the same ancestry or same history, or we have had similar experience. Unity is a decision that has to be made in a sound mind because we realize that it's our best shot, at making a difference and making a shift in the way the society works, so that that the impact can be significant in the way we live our lives and we promote, prosperity and peace for our people. So unity is a decision first and foremost, and in that decision we have to encompass a lot of space to integrate different experiences, and we have to learn about each other. I was an African student coming from Europe when I came to the United States. I've met a lot of people in the United States that didn't understand me, and they were looking at me really strange, like, what are you? You are African and we don't get along. And then I was like, oh no, but I don't get along with you because, I think you're dangerous. And so much things have been said about each other, but not by us. So it's time now, the circumstances that we live in, it's a grand day to be alive again, because now we can talk to each other. Now we can see each other. Now we can travel to see each other. My brother here, my young son, Terry, came with me to Brazil to meet the family in Brazil. And it was absolutely amazing. Same thing, he came to New Orleans to meet the family in New Orleans. So although we are all, the same family, we still have to work hard at, building, the connection between us, because for so long we have lost our connections to each other, but we have never lost our connection from the core, which is, the core values of Ubuntu, of the African family. So I'm very, very happy to have seen this beautiful, beautiful event to promote the help to get our children to learn that they are part of this family, to learn it in a different way that we had to learn. We were lucky, we had libraries, then we have the internet and so forth, but now we can push it even further and open up that space for our children to go and reconnect proudly with their African heritage. Because this is one thing we talk about the education. I tried to read some of the thread that was going on with the education. We do have a right to decide what is right for in the curriculum for our children, because the curriculum that we have been subjected to for so many years, I would say even hundreds of years, is a curriculum that was not designed to serve our interests. And we cannot blame the people who did that, because they were serving their interests. And in their interests, our liberation or our freedom or our grand exploration of our souls was not part of that those pursuits. Part of those pursuits were their own wealth building of their own countries and their own communities, and usually made at the expense of people of our origin, made to the expense of other people's work and resources, like it's still done today. So we cannot, the same thing has to be done with with education. We cannot expect an education system that was not designed for our wealth, but rather was designed for our exploitation, to then teach us how to be free. It's not going to happen. Okay, and we have to accept that. And I'm not saying that we can go to regular curriculum and learn about everything else, but I think that we have to also stress the point that we have a right to determine our own curriculum. All the other communities in the world can do it. If I look at our families, Jewish families, they put their children in Jewish school. They Turkish kids, they go to Turkish school. Korean kids, they go to Korean school. Japanese children, they go to Japanese school. So we have now to we have the right to self-determine it. We have the right to create our own without being apologetic about it. So, and that's why I applaud the efforts of everybody that says enough is enough. We're going to measure ourselves with our own measurement. We're going to take away the abilities of others to measure us. They're going to continue doing it anyway, but it shouldn't affect us anymore. We have to take the courage in our hands to design things that we feel will promote our wellness, will promote our health, will promote our well-being, will promote our wealth. So whatever we see that doesn't correspond to these things, we have to be able to root them out of our system. So our way of thinking, our way of feeling, our way of speaking, our way of acting. So our spirituality is designed to make sure that our system operates in a functional way, so that we can gain that understanding and we can gain that know-how about how to bond with each other, so we can create those healthy and wealthy communities. So this is my take on this all weekender. Absolutely amazing. I saw a lot of great people all throughout the 2 days, because I've been watching, not all the time because I'm in and out of meetings at the same time, but I've been watching, and I'm so proud of every single one of you for the work that you have done, putting in, preparing for this retreat that's going to be the rites of passage that you are working so hard to do. I'm thankful for every single participant, including all my elders that spoke earlier, everybody that took some time to make a comment. Either or, it doesn't matter, agreeing or not agreeing, that's not the point. A community is not supposed to be homogeneous where everybody agrees with everything. That would be a dictator. So dictator is not part of the African language. It's not part of the African mentality. So now we have to learn how to communicate with each other in a meaningful way, in a respectful way, so that we can yield results that are really going to be benefiting our communities and our individuals. So keep going. I'm so proud, and I'm proud of being part of this team, because we are all, there to do our part. And I will always be there to support these kind of efforts. And I'm going to do everything I can, so when the kids come to Congo, they will learn about the Leopard Society of Congo, because I'm queen of the leopard of the Luntu people of Kasai, and very proud to be unapologetically African. Thank you.
That's all. Much appreciated. Much love for that statement. I think we all needed to hear that. I can't wait for myself to get a chance to go to Brazil with you and see what happened out there, because I know it was a powerful trip. I was so upset to be in Dallas at the time, but c'est la vie. But I definitely cannot wait to go on that trip with you and see what's really good. But yeah, much appreciated
Richie,
for the conversation earlier. You and the elders, it was powerful. It was beautiful just to sit back and witness.
Richie, are you going to
What's up?
Brazil or is it
What's that,
you going to
goddess?
Congo? I said, are you going to Brazil or is it the Congo? I'm confused now.
No need to be confused, my love. We're going to Brazil 2021 and we're going to Congo.
She is from the Congo, but she also went on a trip last. Yeah, explain, please, Queen, explain.
Yes. So I am. I'm sorry because I maybe I took to myself thinking that everybody knows me, but I'm not a star, so of course not everybody doesn't know me. So yes, I'm Queen in Congo.
Queen of the world.
Of the Bakwalutu people of Kasai, but I'm also Queen Mother of the African descendants of Brazil. And so I've been crowned 4 years now, and I've been on my throne for 3 years now. And I was crowned last year in Brazil as, you know, the first Queen Mother of Africa to sit on a throne that was reinstalled, a traditional throne that was reinstalled in Brazil, in Salvador de Bahia. So this is some of the work that I do to make sure that we bridge the gap and we connect with each other. So it's about going to all the different communities in the world of African people and to reclaim ourselves, so to claim ourselves of belonging to each other. So that's why I think we made reference to Brazil, because indeed we have a huge African family in Brazil, 90 million people in Brazil that I am connected to, and we are working on continuing opening up the road so more of us can go to Brazil, can learn about that community, and also we can welcome them, you know, in our communities as well. It was all in the design to really get to know each other. So that's why the brother referred to Brazil. And yes, we are invited to go back home to Brazil because Brazil is also our home. I called it Africa Brazil now, and I made all the rituals, including with the Indians or the indigenous people. We went to them, to the chiefs. We did all the ancestral rituals to make of that land an African land, because there were African people on that land that worked to build that country. So, and we got the blessing of the ancestors, and we went on, and that's why they were able to install an African traditional school from Africa, from Congo, back to Brazil. So we're going to go to Brazil. It's our family. So anyone who wants to come with me to Brazil to meet the family or just connect with them are welcome. And the same with Congo, and the same with any other place I go in the world to connect with the family, because this is one of the major jobs, is just to, for me, is to really go and knock at everybody's door and say, you know, it's time, let's get together. We know how to do it now, you know, let's connect. And this platform is an example of this kind of work that, Black Eyes TV is doing, to create a platform where everybody can come. We're going to have brothers from Brazil, sisters from Brazil. We had people from Haiti earlier. We're going to have people from Colombia, from Cuba. So this is the family. Our family is huge, it's diverse, it's colorful, it's plentiful, and we have to tap into all that wealth, even for us, each of us, to restore ourselves, because we have been scattered in parts all over, and we have to get back, like Osiris, go and get pieces of ourselves so we can recompose our identity proper, and we can be strong, and we can really root ourselves in that power that we have, so that a lot of the obstacles we see today will no longer be, they will look like nothing to us, because we have now regained the power, the full power of our identity. So that's one of the things. That's why it's not confusing Congo, Brazil. It's Congo, Brazil, it's Angola, it's Cameroon. I'm going to be in Cameroon in March. So come to Cameroon to celebrate African diaspora in Cameroon. That's the theme of my festival in Cameroon. So come there. We're going to go to South Africa. That's what we do. We have to reconnect, because all this connection empowers us all.
So all I gotta say, because I know my sister Kushti is in the chat, and I know she's listening. So Kushti, you gotta let me know which one of these trips we doing next year for 2021. If we going to Brazil, if we going to Congo, if we going to Cameroon. It's one of those three.
Right.
You know.
Angola.
Oh Lord, one of those four. Now Angola. She see the queen is she ain't no good. She just adding more trips, tempting us.
Brazil is going to be in February, and right after Brazil is going to be Angola. So it's going to be Cameroon. So most people who are going to be in Brazil might not be coming to Cameroon right away, because it's already a long trip. I of course have to do it, but some people have to choose between Brazil and Cameroon. Congo will be in June, and Angola either in May or further on, like maybe in August during next year. So we are just on the working on these program. Black Eyes TV is also partner with these programs that we are putting together, and so you will have the information, and then you can then decide whichever one you want to go to. But anybody's always welcome where I am, because, like, you know, it's home. We are home. Wherever we are home. So
Queen,
it is.
I
Yes.
wanted to ask you, when was the last time you went to Cuba?
Oh, last time I went to Cuba was about, I would say, about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I was in Cuba.
How are the relations there with the people there? And obviously, they've got a good medical system, education system. There's various things going on there.
Yes.
What's your take on Cuba?
Cuba, well, it's quite interesting. I spent about a week in Cuba, meeting different people from the community and so forth. It's quite very interesting, because it's a system that said, enough. We wanna have self-determination, and the fact that they wanted to have self-determination was really a reason for them to get punished in many instances. And I'm not going to get into politics, but one thing I'm sure that they succeeded in doing, they are succeeding in really keeping a very strong cohesion in the communities, because when things are tough and you have a community you can count on, you have a family, you have a community you can count on, you can go through rough time. When you are in an individualistic system, hard time is really, really difficult to even overcome. And this is what we see in Africa. People, always ask, like, how is it possible that they survive and they continue to live in such difficult condition? Well, it's because we are together. The fact that we are together is helping us to overcome, because it gives us strength. So Cuba has a lot of absolutely amazing things. Of course, there's a massive history of racism in Cuba as well. And there's even a massive history of cultural appropriation in Cuba when it comes to all of the rights and all the spiritual, system of the African people. We have to know the history of Cuba and the Spanish-Cuban War to understand what was going on in Cuba for the African spiritual system to be so widely spread, outside of the boundaries of the African people in Cuba. So, but it's still, nevertheless, it's still very well respected, although there was a lot of fights for our tradition and culture to stay alive. But it was not possible to tame it because of of the strength of the ancestors, who continue to believe that they had wisdom and they had knowledge and that they had to put forward. So today, when you go to Cuba, you have absolutely everywhere. You have the respect for, like, the Yoruba pantheon, of an understanding of the spiritual world. So you have, the festivals of Shango, all the Orishas and so forth. And you have also a very strong Congo presence and Congo culture of the Palo, which predate the Yoruba, because the first people to be taken out of Africa were the people from the Basin of Congo. So when they were taken for many, many, many years, before even the people of that we call today the Yoruba were taken, and it took a while, that where all these people were coming from Central Africa. So wherever they went in the Caribbean or in Central America, South America, even North America, they brought with them the very strong Congo, influence, which are they're very close. So if you have Congo on one hand and the Yoruba system or Western African system, they're very close. You can find the equivalence between them. So it can live together without a problem in peace. However, when you know the history of Cuba, you know that they were trying to divide those two groups and to create chaos. This is why sometimes you hear that Palo is the evil side of the African spirituality and the Orisha is the nice side of it. That was just an internal, fight that was promoted by people who were not of African descent that wanted to divide those groups. But that culture of Cuba is very, very strongly imbued with everything African, from the way they speak Spanish, from the music that they play, from the food that they cook, from the traditions that they have. Everything is being imbued in African culture. And I think it's also very, very clear that after the Cuban Revolution, with Castro took power, it was a lot to do with that as well, that a lot of the Black people or Black Cubans were oppressed, and there was still a system of racism. There was still a system of exploitation of the Black people in Cuba. There was a very clear division of the race between the white and the Black Cubans. So a lot of the mixing happened really after the Cuban Revolution, where now every individual, every human being was equal in front of the law. So Black, white, Cuban, everybody was equal. So in the Cuban Revolution, there is a lot of other things that is not always spoken about when they talk about Cuban Revolution. They also always mention about the communism, but it was also another way to abolish a race segregation system that was there prior to the Cuban Revolution. So a lot of the African people supported the revolution in Cuba because they knew that they didn't have equal rights in Cuba prior to the Castro regime. They were oppressed, and they were vilified. They were pursued and killed, and they were also ostracized for their beliefs in the African system and the African tradition and culture. So with the revolution came also a liberation of the African spirit in Cuba, of the African enterprise of pursuing life according to their own understanding and their own rules. So that's something that I think we should have Cuban people eventually come here for the next weekend or another time to really speak about that experience in depth, because I know the experience from what I spoke with them and from me studying the Cuban history. But I think people in Cuba are very, very happy to be connected with Africa, even white Cubans for that matter, because once they adopted the African traditions, they can be completely white Cubans, but yet again practicing, the rights of African spiritual system, and they coexist very well. And so it's something that it's an example. The same thing in Brazil. We have also some European that have adopted those systems, and they coexist, and there is no problem because we are not exclusive. African people, and this is something that is a benefit, but it also has caused us a lot of harm because we are inclusive. So we are open to everybody, we welcome everybody, and then that sometimes can be like a double-edged sword, because the people that we welcome do not always have our best interest in mind. And in many instances, we have spoken to great elders today and great scholars. Many instances, they have taken what was ours and they have turned it against us. They have modified some elements to twist it and turn it upside down, and then use that to make us, to put us in bondage, because we were too eager to share. We were too eager to think that everybody was made of the same substance. But yet again, we forgot that it's not only nature, that it's nature and nurturing that forge a character. So we were in the right nature, and we were in the right nurture. And that's why we forged the African character and the African identity as we know it. But the people who were not in the right nature and who were not in the right nurture, although they were part of the human family, because of the experience that they had, they developed another mindset and another way of dealing with reality, including the way of looking at reality as there is not enough for all of us. We have to take what you have in order for me to be okay. It cannot be Ubuntu. It cannot be you and me. It cannot be you because of me or me because of you. It has to be either me or you. So this type of mentality, our ancestors didn't think of that. We have to accept it. They didn't think of that. They didn't think it was possible, or they thought that it was okay. We could do the nurturing and the teaching in the mystery schools, the education in the medicine schools, the education in the law schools that we had in Kemet and all these kingdoms along the Niles, and then these people will modify. But it wasn't the case. What they did is they modified us, and they modified the information they received, and then they used it against us. So today is a great day because, like I said earlier in the previous chat, in Congo, we say no matter how long is the night, sooner or later the sun will rise. So it's a, for me, it's every day is a day of a rising sun. So even if it's not perfect, and even if we have so many areas we still have to work and battle our way out, and we still have the anger, we still see the injustice, and we wish we could just change things like that. We know it's not possible to change things like that. Even to become who we became today and to have changed so much, it took 3,000 years to put Africa on her knees. So it's not, it took 3,000 years. So don't think, oh, it took 400 years. No. It took over 3,000 years to put Africa on her knees. And she's on her knees. She's not on the floor. Meaning that she's on her knees, and you can be on your knees for a minute so you can regroup, recap, get the strength, breathe a bit, take some oxygen in, and then keep going. And this is what I see when I look at my youth. This is what I see when I see you young people out there, you know, finding your place, finding your voice, shining your light. This is what I see. This is what I want to see in the eyes of every single child of African descent, to know who they are, to know that indeed they are gods. They are not made out of nothing. They are made out of divine substance, in and out, and they can be capable of changing things. And yes, it's a fight. Hey, we signed up for it. When you go to our traditional system, we are ancestors who keep coming back. We are not forced to come back. We keep coming back because we decide that this is the fight we want to be in. And so let us do, and let us see what miracles we can do with our work.
Most definitely. You remember my friend George Macon, who I do shows with? He's from Philadelphia. He just came in and joined us, and I know you've seen him before. George, unmute your mic, because I know he was desperate to ask you a quick question, and I told him that we were having an improv chat. Look, now he's dropped off. It's one of them nights. Okay, if he can't come on, but I know he did want to actually ask you something, and I know you wanted to talk to him as well at some point and have a quick word. So I definitely got to bring you two together so you can chat to him about the efforts he's doing. Oh, here he is. He's back. One second.
Yes. I think he's coming back.
Yeah, there he is. George, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
Can you hear me?
I know. I can hear you.
Yeah, I just jumped on for a second because I'm in the store and it's super loud in here. I just tuned in. I was hearing to talk about Cuba and Cuban Revolution, and I just, you know, a lot of times people talk about Castro, and I be wanting our people to understand that, you know, way before Castro, you know, you had Antonio Maceo, and, you know, his father and his families, you know, within the Cuban Revolution. You know, he was murdered, he was killed in battle in 1896, but we've been getting killed and destroyed down, you know, in the Caribbean for a long time. You know, me having a Cuban mother, my grandmother, you know, I understood that history of us understanding our, you know, our blackness and what it was to be African. That's why when you go to, like, a lot of Cubans, as opposed to Dominicans, they actually embrace their African heritage, you know, because it was something that is basically something that was where in the Dominican Republic, it was trying to, like, basically washed away. It was enforced in Cuba. You know, a lot of people just know about the revolution with Batista, but they don't know about Antonio Maceo. So I tell people a lot, you know, look up the brother Antonio Maceo and his brothers and his father, and his mother is known as the mother of Cuba. And they don't talk about him as much because, unlike Castro, he was black. You know, he had black skin. He was a black man. So, you know, it's you know, that fight and that revolution been down there for a long time. So, you know, but I tuned in late. So a lot of the conversation, I don't even know what you guys were talking about. But I heard that part. I also, that's, you know.
George.
Yeah.
George, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you know we're on with Queen. We're on with Queen Diambi right now. Yes. So she's. It was her that you was listening to talk just a minute ago. So if you've got, I know you wanted to speak with her, and I still need to bring you two together to have a conversation properly. But if there's anything you want to ask her, this will be a good time to get in quickly before we shut down the stream and bring today's proceedings to a close. But yeah, if you want to ask her anything, this would be a good time, brother.
Yeah, I don't even know now because I came, like I said, I came in late, and
That's right.
I heard that.
But to
Yeah.
piggyback on what you say, my young son, is that yes, indeed, the experience. I was talking about the experience of being black in Cuba before the revolution, and I was basically saying that the revolution was not only about a communist thing, because a lot of
Right.
West, when we hear about the revolution, we think it's only about communism, but it was also for equality of the rights of the African people, Cuban people of African origin, and that's why a lot of the African people supported it, because they were in segregation Cuba before, and so that's why I was talking about Cuba. But you mentioned also Dominican Republic, and it's really interesting when you study the history of Dominican Republic and Haiti, because before it was just one island, and it was just one people before they cut it in half, and the Spaniard kept the other part of Hispaniola and made it Dominican Republic. And why is it that it's so different? The same people started off with one island, with same people of African descent. And why is it that one side is all majority black, and then the other side is majority mixed, who consider themselves to be some kind of Indio or something? They don't even consider themselves to be black, but they are black people indeed, mixed with the Spaniards. So people always have a difficulty understanding, but it's about the history. It's about the revolution that happened, and the fact that the island was then cut in two, and Spaniard kept one part of the island. And also, you mentioned it, my brother, that there was a brainwash process happening to whitewash the whole history of Hispaniola, and especially that Dominican Republic, because the Spaniards didn't want to see what happened to Haiti happened to that side of the island. So they started to give a lot more privileges to the black people there. And also they transformed the economy from agriculture, basically solely, sugar cane, to more cattle raising. So when they started to do more cattle raising, then, when you don't deal with the same type of hard labor when you're working with cattle than you're working on the field of sugarcane, so you start to treat the people a little bit differently. They had to be on horses. They had to be. So it's a long story, but to make it short, it's really because they didn't want to see happen the same thing that happened to Haiti and lose that part of the island. And so they started to have a different treatment of the African people on the ground, have much more mixing with them as well. And also the African people that did not feel the pain as much, because that's what that was the plan, so that they wouldn't get to revolt and rebel as continued to revolt and rebel as he was in Haiti. But there are people who are much better versed than I to talk about the history of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, that can explain in depth, because there has been a lot of also colonization of Haiti, colonized the Dominican Republic several times, or invaded and conquered for several times. So there's like animosity that comes, from years back. And for them, being African is ultimately being a Haitian. So they have animosity between the two people, and it translates into what you can see today, where you have black people looking like me, and they like, oh no, I'm not black, I'm Indio. And it's like, no, I'm African, so you are African too. And they're like, no, you look like me. And I say, no, you look like me. So it's like, we have all these areas of concern that we still have to work on, but little by little things are changing as well. So this is one of the things that we have to continue speaking to each other and opening up these channels to know about each other's experience. Today, there are also Dominican people that starting to accept that they are Africans. Many baseball players that thought they were India or whatever when they were in Dominican Republic. Once they came to the United States, they were treating like black people, and they were in a segregated country when they came, before the segregation was over in this country. So they realized that they don't treat them any different than they treat black people of the United States. So a lot of them sometimes starting to realize that, maybe we think we're different, but the world think of us the same as they think of everybody else that look like us. So some of the people are changing. There is still, a lot of difficulties, but many young people also in the Dominican Republic, I've heard about a couple of groups, like rap groups, like they're really Afro-oriented. So, there is hope that we're going to continue to work together and get to know each other. That's all.
Most definitely. Listen, I'm tired now. Everybody's had a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful build. George,
Yeah.
big up for the jump on. I'm looking to close down the stream right now because it's been a
Okay.
long ass day for me.
Yes.
I appreciate these interactions. We got to say, George, go on, say your statement, brother.
Oh no, I'll just say this, just and this is lead up to the next stream. It's millions of so-called woke Africans throughout the planet now, and I no longer blame the ones that sleep. Those of us, it's enough of us that's woke on every continent now, where we have social media, we have all kinds of ways of corresponding and networking. I looked at our ancestors in the 60s and the 50s. They built large movements from Africa to the Americas with no social media, so we don't got no excuse. The ones that are asleep, that's deaf, dumb, and blind, I can't blame them for what they don't know, but I can blame us that do know. That's from South Africa all the way to the Americas, all the way to South America. If we're not leading the charge and being the example for them to come over, then then it's nothing else. It's nothing else to talk about. Yes. I'm at the end of having a long conversations where we got people woke in Brazil, we got people woke in Nigeria, we got people woke here in Philadelphia, but we're not networking and corresponding to show the people that sleep that they can be a part of something. So until we do that, it's just talk. Marcus Garvey did it in the freaking 20s. We got all the technology we need, and we still ain't done it yet. So it's past the point of talking, and no more excuses. That's all I want to say.
No doubt, no doubt. And may this weekend mark the start of that for those who are just joining us, or make it be, again, another brick in the road that you've already been walking for a long time. Big up to you, Queen Diambi, for joining us. Hotep to you. Blessings for your support, and your friendship and kindness, in this journey.
Blessings to all of you. Yes, thank you very much. And let's continue working.
No doubt, most definitely. To everybody that's joined us all throughout the day, who supported the cause, who's donated, who's liked, who's shared, who's subscribed, and who continues to come back to Black Eyes TV. Big up to you, salute to you, special salute, even though I know my man Mr. Riggs is either on the phone, knocked out, eating food, or doing something crazy. But salute to Terry Riggs, if you see his name, salute it, because again, me and Riggsy, we work as a team, but we also do our separate things. And this brainchild of the Dr. Llaila Afrika youth exchange program is his brainchild. The same way Black Eyes TV was mine, this is his brainchild. So when you see him, if you know him personally, if you only see him online, salute him for everything that you've seen put together. We pride ourselves on both having relationships with the scholars and the elders and the teachers and the YouTubers that have come on, but bringing this all together for this particular event, for this particular institution, this was my brethren, Mr. Riggs. So salute to you, Riggsy. I hope you hear this on the playback, and I might even do another show where we specially talk about that, the efforts of Mr. Riggs, where I just give him another big up. So again, if you haven't donated to the GoFundMe for the youth exchange program, please go ahead and do so. The link is in the description of the video, so go ahead and do so. And for me, Black Eyes TV, keep watching, keep supporting. If you have ideas, support me by sharing your ideas via my email, blackeyestv@gmail.com, or hit me up on Instagram, Black Eyes TV, or find me on Facebook, Black Eyes TV Richie. Black Eyes TV Richie. That's me on Facebook. So find me at any of them mediums on the page, Black Eyes TV. You can find my phone number there. So again, if you're in the same country, if it's easier for you to phone me, feel free. At worst, I just won't answer, but I'll get back to you. So again, let us know how you felt. And if I'm not mistaken, right, so it's Sunday today. So Tuesday is True Talk time. I don't know about the subject matter yet, but we'll definitely be doing something on Tuesday. So that's going to be the open panel show where anyone could come on, voice their views about whatever we're talking about. So again, come support that. And then afterwards, we're going to start a few different things. I think Total Exposure starts again International Sister Circle will be coming back, and there'll be a few other bits and bobs thrown in there. So look out for all of those things. Big up to everybody that supported Black Eyes TV. Don't forget to support the Dr. Llaila Afrika Youth Exchange Program wherever you see it. Yeah, go to our channel, look at the promos. You'll find all the links. If there's anybody that you've seen on the Black History Weekender that you want to get in contact with, hit us up and I will do my best to get details put into the description for various people if you want to find them, and keep supporting Black Eyes TV. And in the words of Mr. Riggs, buy black, keep it moving black, be black, think black, yeah, all black everything, yeah, that's all. Big up to my people then. Peace, peace, peace.